If you think about it, if Kamala, who's the same basic thing, grossly incompetent, he was incompetent, they're all incompetent because their policies are incompetent. Open borders, men playing in women's sports, transgender for everybody. I mean, they got the worst policy. I don't talk about it too much because if I talk about it, they might change. So, no, I don't talk about it. I tell people, don't talk about it. Wait till 2 weeks before the election and hit the hell out of them. Right? We talked about that, right, Elon? He said, we wait 2 weeks before. It's almost like you're at a war. Don't shoot yet. Don't shoot. Hold your fire. The enemy's rushing. Hold your fire. Don't shoot. Okay, now you can go. 2 weeks before. But I watched a guy the other day, a congressman, fighting for men playing in women's sports. And the new weightlifting record for a certain weight was just set. The man was 119 pounds higher than a woman champion who was a phenomenal champion. Beat her by 119, and he was an average lifter prior to transitioning. A lot of the Saudis are sitting here saying, what the hell is he talking about transition? They don't do, Yasser, they don't do a lot of transitioning. They're sitting here, the Saudis are saying, what is he talking about? They're saying, what do you mean women are playing against men? No, that doesn't happen, does it? Yeah, it does. These people are crazy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, these people are crazy. It's been an interesting week. It is Table of Titans, Trump's happy endings. And I got one coming from the Epstein files, and we got another one possibly coming out of Ukraine. Might be a little bit of peace in the plan out there, but again, hold, and then get ready to fire all at once, guys. And it seems like we did this with the Epstein thing, and don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. It's a conspiracy. Oh, no, it's a hoax. It's a hoax. Don't look at it. All right, then let everybody look at it. It's going to get interesting. I got that. We got some action going on in the election in Texas and in California. They're playing judges games out there. And there's so much stuff going on right now. I don't even know where to start, but I got a full team today. I got Rdoc, Space Shot, and Tron. Tron, what is going on, my friend?
I love it, guys. Boss on stage in front of all those prominent Saudi trillionaires, billionaires, and whatnot, cracking jokes. And yes, they don't have transgender for everyone over there. And I'll tell you what, Boss bringing the levity to this situation. I'll tell you what, man, psychological warfare. Boss explaining it right there. We're at war. And then he talks about Elon. Hey, Elon, remember when we had that fight? And you said I was in the Epstein files, and then the left were like, yeah, let's release the Epstein files. Boom time, baby. This is it. Welcome to 2025. I love it. And Boss explaining to us to hold the line, baby. And we'll see what's coming up next. But I'll tell you what, so much happening. And we got a great show for you planned. And the best of all, what happens in Saudi Arabia will happen here going back to November 4th of 2017. All those arrests, baby. And we've been waiting patiently for this story to kind of unravel here. And it's happening. It's happening. We have Dick Cheney dying for the 8th time in a row. Bob Barker says, hold my beer. And things are looking good, guys. So hang tight, have faith, be encouraged, and let's rock this one out. Let's boom.
Like we all need a state funeral.
It was like his sixth heart or something like that, wasn't it? I know that dude had like multiple heart issues.
Yeah, hold on there. Let's get it to Rdoc. Mr. Rdoc, sir, I'm waiting for your international things. Is the peace plan going to work?
Oh, wait. What are you talking about? It's been a slow week. What are you talking about, man?
Look at my tab count.
I know. I was only going to cover one thing tonight, but I've got a series of things that lead into that one thing, and that is what is going on in Ukraine, because it is huge, turning L's into W's, because what it was looking like is that Donald Trump and the United States and the West was going to take a big L because Ukraine was losing, and Donald Trump, as we've been talking about, has been listening to people like Keith Kellogg and Lindsey Graham, and has not exited this crazy money laundering scheme disguised as a war in Ukraine. And but now things have changed, and he seems to have been secretly listening to Witkoff and people around him like Rick Grinnell, whatever, about some of these things. We're going to get into that. What Rick Grinnell may be back into the Venezuela thing. Trump may be considering a new national security advisor, which removes Rubio from that role. And so happy endings extraordinaire if it all works out, and let's hope and pray that it does. So we'll get into all those details. Let's go.
All right, your turn, Mr. Space Shot.
Hey, it's me, and thank you. I think News Tree
Mario!
just rated us over here a little while ago, but yeah, and Tron, stole my thunder on that post. I was looking it up quick too, but he didn't steal all my thunder. So yeah, like Tron said, what happened in Saudi Arabia will happen here. And what was he talking about? 119? I don't even know what he was talking about. 119 something. But if you go on to that one, what is money flow disruption? List the billionaires. What family history goes back to pre-World War I and II? Why is this relevant? Why did the Bush family recently break silence and attack POTUS? And then, coincidence, 3 SA arrests. I thought that was interesting, seeing as who was in town this last week here. MBS, very great relationship with President Trump there. He's quite fond of our POTUS, as I am as well. But thank you guys all for tuning in. Always a big hat tip to the folks over at Liberty Base News Country over there running 24/7 news. Go give them some love on Rumble and Pilled.net, of course. I don't know if they're on Twitch or whatever else they are, but also want to thank the mods for helping us out as always. Really do appreciate your help, and a lot of stories, lots of stuff to talk about, Hulk. And oh, I forgot, lots of panic in DC. I mean, to the point where we got congressmen and senators like literally swearing and crapping themselves on Twitter posts. So I'm loving it. So back to you, Hulkinator.
Yeah, let's get into some of the interesting things that are happening this week out here. The internet did go down there. We do have an inside picture video of Cloudflare because, again, X went down the beginning of the week. People couldn't unlock their Teslas because they couldn't connect their phone to it when it was bad. Here's the insider.
Whiskers! You cannot take down X just because you are not viral.
So big takedown in Cloudflare. And again, do we know if this is associated with the history of China that's out there that they just busted? Remember, they did it back in 2020 in the election. We got problems here. We had all the big giant cell phone data centers where they had the SIM cards out there, only 300,000 of them to flood the United States out here. So I don't know. I find it really interesting that this one company keeps going down. It takes down the entire internet all by itself background. I mean, this was across multiple countries out here. So pretty big failure. If it's not Amazon, it's Cloudflare. What are your guys' thoughts? Anything planned?
Yeah,
What?
No, it's interesting because like we've always seen this before, and whether it's the EMP or the Atlas A1 type of Comet deal, we've always been, we love our digital devices, we love our tracking, we love all that fun stuff. But then when it goes down, it's like when the power goes out, you're just sitting there, there's nothing going on, it's quiet. It's kind of nice, man. Let's get a blackout. It would have been nicer to last a few days, but coincidentally, it happens when Epstein files are coming out. It happens when the Democrats start to lose power, and it reminds us of them losing their grip of control. And whether this is just one of those slip ups. I mean, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, and you saw how much it took out. You couldn't get into pretty much anything. And it kind of makes you wonder. You have to kind of facilitate new cloud services like Rumble or something for it to be just one company. But yeah, it can happen anywhere, anytime. And right after the anniversary of when Marty McFly comes back to 1985. I love it.
That's what happened. He screwed it up. They screwed up the timelines.
All I know is
Let's keep going.
All I know is my X is still screwed up. So if they give you the opportunity to put in a PIN code for encrypted DMs, do not do it, guys. I cannot. Half the time, like literally 1 out of every 2 or 3 times I go to even copy a link on Twitter now, it just shuts my app down. So I can't get into DMs. I can't share stuff, and it's really getting to be a pain in the ass.
Oh, yeah. The other part I want to throw on this really quick is China was using Claude. I think that's Microsoft's. I can't remember. Anyways, their AI to basically hack in to its own system and then basically go into government systems and alter paperwork. And it was also messing with Cloudflare DNS, doing some weird stuff out there. They shut it down, and it happened within a couple of minutes. But they were able to stop it from happening, which I find greatly interesting. But remember, AWS went out twice this year already. So just wanted to throw that out here. We're going to throw a quick little funny on here from the chat, throwing stuff out here as we have MBS over here with Trump at the White House, taking a look at the Grand Wall right here. And
We choose truth over fact.
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
We choose.
I just had to throw that in there. I'm sure Rdoc's going to go over a lot more about everything that happened over there with everything from AI to F-35s and Israel getting all pissed off. There was a whole bunch of changes there, and it's quite interesting there. I threw some videos in there for you too, Rdoc. So that happened. And then again, Tron, he had him at the grand finale again at the dinner, the state dinner with the Saudis. Am I reading this correctly?
Yeah, Nassoon Dorma, guys. This is from the Sum of All Fears, the final act, and when they wrap up the peace accords and whatnot and take out the remaining deep state criminals, Boss always brings Nassoon Dorma back, and this was like one of those prestigious events, trillions of dollars there, sending a message, and again, all on that couple-week anniversary of what happens in Saudi Arabia will happen here, and like Space Shot said, that relationship between the MBS and Boss, I mean, that is tight. He's making jokes. He's saying, I don't know where your hands have been. He's not spraying him with cologne, but again, Nassoon Dorma, and this comes after, of course, the Epstein files and panic in D.C. This is good. And again, this doesn't come from Dan. It comes from Boss with some squiggly wigglies in there, too. Look at that.
Squiggly wigglies.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Just wanted to throw that one out there as a couple of these things. And again, we all had a state funeral here. We'll throw these guys out. Usual cast of characters show up, but yeah, no Trumps. Look for candy. Anybody passing candy anywhere? No. Anybody get any special letters? No surprise.
I woke up with a severe case of deja vu.
They look the same. Like, really. It's kind of sad, actually.
So the Bushes also has said they're coming back to take back the Republican Party after Trump's loses the next election. Blah blah blah. So yay, Bushes are coming back. I don't know who they're going to run.
Ooh, Hulk, did they have a part in this funeral here where apparently George Bush right there apparently betrays his whole family and ilk, and they're all looking really sad at him, like, what the hell did you do? Oh my goodness, like the first one.
No, I missed that. That wasn't there. Trump wasn't there handing out letters.
That was his poppy's funeral. So if you haven't seen that, go back and watch, especially his wife and Jeb looking like he's crapping his pants.
I'd also like to mention just a couple of days later, you had the Clinton Foundation whistleblowers come out and give their testimony in Congress in front of Jim Jordan, the rest of those guys, and that court case will continue the 1st of next month. So that's coming. As long as we're putting that out there. What else do we want to get in here? Oh, yeah. Space Shot. I want to read this one for everybody.
Sure. Paul Sperry says, CNN rewriting history. Quote, Dick Cheney had principles. In run-up to fake Iraq and weapons of mass destruction war, Cheney went on, quote, meet the press to, in fact, confirm a piece in the New York Times that morning which falsely claimed Iraq got aluminum tubes for a nuke, a lie which Cheney planted. He also claimed Iraq 9/11 link. Oh, also, remember, he was in the Pentagon while the planes were heading there, and the order was do not shoot the plane out of the sky. 100 miles, 80 miles, whatever miles. Sir, is the order still stand? And yeah, he apparently yelled at the kid, did you hear anything to the contrary? So they let that happen to the Pentagon, at the very least. And we know a lot more than that.
Yep, just to throw that out there with their state funerals that were happening this week. So, anybody else want to make comments about Dick Cheney and the warmongers or anything like that? Didn't think so.
let's just say everybody's safer during quail hunting now that this man is underground.
Exactly. Yeah. Just pepper him up a little bit. Speaking of peppering, here we go.
I'm Senator Alyssa Slotkin.
Senator Mark Kelly.
Representative Chris Deluzio.
Congresswoman Maggie Goodlander.
Representative Chrissy Houlihan.
Congressman Jason Crow. I was a captain in the United States Navy.
Former CIA officer.
Former Navy.
Former paratrooper and Army Ranger.
Former intelligence officer.
Former Air Force.
We want to speak directly to members of the military
And the intelligence community.
Who take risks each day to keep Americans safe.
We know you are under enormous stress and pressure right now.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk.
This administration is pitting our uniformed military
And intelligence community professionals.
Against American citizens.
like us. You all swore an oath.
To protect and defend this Constitution,
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad, but from right here at home.
Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
You can refuse illegal orders.
You must refuse illegal orders.
No one has to carry out orders that violate the law.
Or our Constitution.
We know this is hard and that it's a difficult time to be a public servant.
But whether you're serving in the CIA,
The Army,
Our Navy,
The Air Force.
your vigilance is critical.
and know that we have your back.
Because now, more than ever,
The American people need you.
We need you to stand up for our laws.
our Constitution,
and who we are as Americans. Don't give up.
don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up the ship.
Huh. Sounds like they're offering a little treason against the president is what everybody's pointing the stick at this morning. And everybody's trying to run for cover for putting this thing back out. You guys got comments on what you guys just heard?
Well, from the chat, Tree Hugger says one of them is the wife to Jake Sullivan, and I don't know who it's good. I just typed the thing in there. Goodlander. That's the wife of Jakey Sullivan, which remember is very good friends and all over Hillary Clinton's emails. But here's my question: what prompted them to come out and start saying this? I mean, is this about all the ICE things and you don't have to get rid of people illegally? And then we have Supreme Court backing President Trump's decision. So everything, as far as I can see, he's telling them to do what are legal orders. So I don't know where they're coming out the side of the neck. Like, you don't have to do anything illegal. Is that their way of telling them, like, hey, resist from the inside? That's what it looks like to me.
It looks like acts of treason to
Sounds
me.
like insurrection. It sounds like a coup. It sounds like, I don't know, traitors. This has to stop. And you know, the fact that they're coming out and doing it openly with the script is not going to serve them well. I mean, we saw Sleepy Joe try to do this in his 2021 administration, where he was kind of flushing out diehard MAGA in the military. And now they're taking it a step further. This is what they have left of the Democratic Party, going after protecting the Constitution. And if you look at their eyes, they look completely dead in the inside. They have no party left, and this is their last hope of the old guard. And nothing's going to help them. And at this point, what's up, Ed Martin?
Yeah, he's paying attention too, because if you're paying attention to last week, he had Rod over at his office, and they were doing a little bit of interviews and asking what was going on about the weaponization of government, because he went to jail for Barack Obama's Senate seat that he didn't sell. But Ed Martin's over here pointing out that he's paying attention to the 5 Democrat senators who recorded the video encouraging our military to refuse and follow orders from the commander-in-chief. So that kind of set off everybody else. They are all running for cover, trying to cover themselves here. And this guy spent basically 2.5 minutes, basically can't come up with whatever illegal orders that these particular people in Congress or government are facilitating what the boss wants done, whether it's blow up boats or, the educational department. None of them are coming up why they put this video out and what particular things are you talking about.
Well, it could be the guy that pushes the missile button in the aircraft or the aircraft carrier. It can be the guy that's, on ICE, just, arresting illegals, or it could be, someone high up in the military. That's what's scary about that messaging is you don't know who's receiving it. I mean, look at what happened with Thomas Crooks. Look at what happened with Charlie Kirk. And now they're coming out and telling the military not to follow unlawful orders based on Democratic protocol. Like, that's absolutely insane. This is going to get dangerous. And hopefully there's not like an example of some lone wolf military. We look at what's happening at our military bases the last couple of years. This is no good. We got to stop it.
Yeah, exactly. What else do we got we want to throw in here quickly? And then Chris Murphy's another one of these guys here. We're just going to continue on. But here's the first part up at the bottom. I guess this came from True Social at the bottom, right, Tron?
Yeah, Boss was dropping about 18 of these. He retruthed a bunch of, anons on True Social. There's one right there. Hang them, George Washington Wood. And that's a retruth. So Boss using that proxy system there. And then he has this beautiful one here. Seditious behavior punishable by death. And he doesn't explain exactly what, where, or why, or how. But again, the whole timeline, the whole narrative, the whole feeling of this situation is just, is what Boss is saying. And then the left have to come out and say, oh no, they're boss is telling to come after us, just like on January 6th with Mike Pence and the noose. No. We have laws, guys. We have laws. And now, finally, we're in, the situation where we can actually follow them. And then we need the judges and the lawyers to push all that through. But I'll tell you what, man, 1776, firing squads, who knows what else we have under the books. I mean, boss is not messing around, man. He's not. This is after MBS comes in. Like, this is it.
Dude, how many times in the past has he posted something like this, and now for some reason they're reacting to it? He's probably posted that 500 times, things along those lines. But now they're jumping.
Pay-per-view.
Yes, love it.
Pay-per-view. I would pay for it. Traders. What else do we got here? Donald Trump's over here with the Washington Examiner down here. Democratic veterans in Congress urged service members to refuse unspecified lawful orders, whatever that is. And it says, this is really bad, dangerous to our country. Their words cannot be allowed to stand. Seditious behavior from the traitors. Lock them all up. DJT. So he's definitely taking a look at these guys. I don't think it's going to go all that far.
And real quick, that response is a response to a video in that article, which we just watched. So that is what he's basically referring to, lock them up. And this comes days after Boss drops a meme of Chris Farley yelling at a Pam Bondi talking about, hey, arrest someone. So Boss is, he has the same sentiment as us. We want to get this wrapped up. Q drop 0. Hillary Clinton will be arrested, and Hillary and Bill were not at that state funeral today. So let's just see what happens, and I think we're going to be rewarded. This has to happen, or else we lose our country.
Yeah, I think they want to stay out of D.C. here for a little bit. But we'll get to that story here. Here, Tron, read that for everybody.
Guys, breaking from Eric, there are now 3 congressional Democrats who are under current federal indictment. Monica McKeever from New Jersey assaulting a federal agent, and Sheila Sheriffus McCormick stealing $5 million in FEMA for her campaign. Why not? And Henry Cooler, a bribery in Texas. If Democrats control the House and parties were reversed, all 3 would be on 0 committees, censured, and likely even expelled by now. But no, they play by other rules, guys, continuously.
Yeah, so this lady's hot off the presses over here. We even got Kash Patel picking up the story itself because she took money from FEMA, funneled it into her organizations, and basically kept the money and paid all the family members and all those sort of things. And they are really pushing on this corruption thing pretty hard coming out of the FBI. They are not goofing around. So if they're taking it up with these people, I don't want to be the person with mortgage fraud is all I'm saying. Because those guys are coming up here very shortly, the Adam Schiffs and all those guys. So it's going to get interesting. So that's a big charge coming out for her.
Loving it, as it should be, right? And it was not in the past. And I do see what's going on with my volume. My computer's playing games again, Hulk. The automatic volume shut down. It will be addressed.
There is an, I did quick tech support. There's a volume setting you got to turn off for each one of the browsers you're using. It's some hidden setting. I found it and turned it off, and it stopped. It cured my issue. All right, as we continue on, what else do we have here? Okay, so the other thing is how the governor of New York, Kathy Hochul, had another Chinese-operated spy inside of her operation since 2018. Basically money laundering, visa fraud, basically check and mark everything you could do possibly for positive things for China and everything negative for Taiwan or anybody else that falls outside of that circle. She was signing signatures to legislation and stuff like that too, including also doing all this kickbacks and all these special trips and stuff. Including Ferrari and homes in New York and Hawaii, dude. So she was spending a crap load of money over here. And this is her on the left over here. So another Chinese mole, just kind of like they were doing out of California with Dianne Feinstein. Just saying as an idea.
Oh my god. I mean, all these people, dude, they have no friggin', they're all over Trump about everything, but half of them are running around with friggin' Chinese spies with them. It's like, oh my goodness.
Well, they're doing it knowingly. There's no way this happens over and over and over again. It's like, the Chinese restaurant going out of business. And then next time it's like, oh, under new ownership. It's like, Mr. Kim is the same guy. Like over and over again, these tricks. And we have to take away the Chinese-owned American land. But man, Feinstein, Swalwell, how many else driving Miss Daisies over here? And they're not even that like great looking. Why would you fall for it? I mean, I don't know. I'm not into that kind of thing, but Asian, I don't know. As an American, why would you want to go for that? I don't know. Anybody?
I'm sorry.
Did it
I'm
get
sorry.
weird? No, I'm just being crazy. It's just,
Just being crazy. I was being asked
no,
questions.
you think they'd be a little bit better than that. I don't know. I mean, that's kind of an easy trick.
Yeah, exactly. So that's rolling down. We'll get into more of that corruption because I got other stuff happening on state levels here. As we roll on to important stuff, you had made a comment about Jackie Sullivan's wife there. Was that Space Shot? Was that you?
Yes, Miss Goodlander, Maggie.
Oh, good. Mega, go ahead and read this for everybody.
Okie dokie. What do we got? Miss Jake Sullivan, Maggie Goodlander, quote, oversaw the special counsel Durham investigation into oblivion. Her husband, Hillary's closest advisor and Biden's national security advisor, was one of the architects of Russiagate. Here she is emailing herself an article which criticizes the Durham prosecution of a top FBI lawyer who forged court documents to obtain surveillance of the Trump campaign and administration. Wow.
So, yeah, Sullivan was a lot more integral into that spot than we all had thought. So, yeah, hanging out with AG Garland and overseeing the councils. Yeah, they're around. Yeah. So just put that together there. That was something I didn't expect to see for this
Hillary,
particular week.
I mean, dude, I've stressed it numerous times over the years. He is literally Jake Sullivan all over the Hillary Clinton emails. Oh, let me talk to Jake. Let me ask Jake. Okay, thanks, Jake. All over the place.
Here's another one. Read that.
Real Clear Investigation senior reporter Paul Sperry reported that as Biden's Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco prevented special counsel Durham from releasing the 30-page appendix to his final report because it implicated her old boss, Obama, he further reported.
So I find that quite interesting. Who was hiding some of the paperwork itself? Because the appendix was buried pretty far into the FBI files before it actually got out and was declassed. We can actually see it. They buried that thing, guys. So this is interesting. These little pieces are coming out, and they're naming who was holding it. Lisa Monaco, we love her. Let's keep going. The other thing, bombshell, that helped out a lot of people are freaking out about is this.
Speaking of weaponized justice, we have some more news to report to you regarding former FBI Director James Comey and the DOJ's case against him, with the prosecutor overseeing it, the U.S. Attorney for Eastern District of Virginia, Lindsay Halligan, acknowledging in court that the full grand jury never saw the final indictment against Comey. Halligan's admission came during a court hearing on Wednesday in which Comey is seeking the dismissal of that prosecution against him. DOJ prosecutor said that instead of presenting a new indictment to the grand jury after it declined to prove one of the counts against Comey, they just brought an altered version to the magistrate's courtroom for the grand jury's foreperson to sign. Now, we'll see what the judge thinks about that, but it could be an interesting twist. I think this is in for a long...
So over the course, I've heard multiple people say this. Mr. Spaceshot, would you read that for everybody?
Yeah, and maybe, hopefully this will answer, but wasn't there something shady about the judge, too? He was trying some stuff beforehand. You can answer that after. Hans Manchke, I don't even know how to say it. What they're doing to Lindsay Halligan is absolutely despicable. There were 3 indictments, 2 were approved, so she set aside the one that wasn't, got the foreperson signature, and moved it forward. That's it. And yet they're all acting like she committed some kind of monstrous offense, which is exactly what happens to any Trump appointee who actually tries to carry out the mandate they were elected to deliver instead of playing it safe, mouthing platitudes and accomplishing nothing. And by the way, where are the people who should be standing with her right now instead of leaving her out to dry? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Pam Bondi stood right next to her and said, yeah, we're good with everything that's basically here. So they did release the timeline today, backing up with Halligan, what she was doing, and everything was on the up and up, and everybody's signature and everything else was A-OK. So them making this out that this court clerk or whatever signed on to these charges or whatever is total 100% bullshit is what they're saying. The court is kind of siding with the Comey side itself because, I mean, that's the way it normally happens over there. But I don't think it's going to hold too much weight. I still think there's too much mountains of evidence that the DOJ keeps coming with to kind of landslide this in. So I don't think it's going anywhere.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. What else do we got here? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Read this one for everybody.
Svetlana Lokhova. Top FBI Crossfire Hurricane lawyer Kevin Kleinsmith pled guilty to forging documents to obtain illegal surveillance of the Trump campaign and administration. In January 21, Judge Boasberg presided over Klein
Who?
Smith's sentencing. Oh, that's Judge
Who?
Boasberg.
There we go.
Boasberg, right? Mr. High and tidy and nice and clean and neat and never doing anything wrong. Over Klein Smith's sentencing in U.S. District Court. Federal guidelines for the false statement offense suggested a sentence of up to 6 months in prison. Boasberg got him off. No prison time, 12 months probation, 400 hours of community service. Klein Smith's law license was restored. He was reinstated as an, quote, active member in good standing of the D.C. bar. Oh, that's pretty cool when you mess with evidence. You didn't think you'd ever be able to be a lawyer after something like that again.
Yeah. So I just laughed. I was like, oh my God, it's the same dude that's been messing with Trump. Save Klein Smith and the whole Russia stuff, dude. I got to hand it to these guys. These guys are good. I mean, they're well orchestrated swamp machine. Just amazed.
One of their lead blockers, Go to. Yeah, put Boasberg on it. He'll take care of it.
Exactly. All right. Now we got to do a long post right here. Tron, you want to do some reading for Boss? At least the first half. Mr. Tron?
Ron? Okay, Jeffrey Epstein.
Yo!
Right,
no,
go,
no, I'm here. No. Jeffrey Epstein, who was charged by the Trump Justice Department in 2019, not by the Democrats, was a lifelong Democrat, donated thousands of dollars to the Democratic politicians, and was deeply associated with many well-known Democrat figures such as Bill Clinton, who traveled on his plane 26 times, Larry Summers, who just resigned from many boards, including Harvard, sleazebag political activist Reid Hoffman, minority leader Hakeem Jeffries, who asked Epstein to donate to his campaign after Epstein was charged, Democrat Congresswoman Stacey Plaskett, and many more. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed, because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. As everyone knows, I asked Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune to pass this bill in the House and Senate respectively. Because of this request, the votes were almost unanimous in favor of passage at my discretion.
That's good enough. So give me your thought of this. Well, we've seen this tug back and forth on this particular information, because when we all started, this was conspiracy theory. What are you talking about? There's no such thing as an island, an airplane, what, child, what? No, you guys are absolutely nuts. And then we're like, well, we got some evidence. And then it's like, hey, conspiracy, that's conspiracy. I don't know what you're talking about. You're blowing it way out of proportions. Where are we at now, Tron?
Well, this is all about timing, and you have to remember, we've been so spoiled over the past 8+ years knowing all of this. We haven't even gotten to the Ray Chandlers and like all the other, the Les Wexlers and how that all connects to going even back to like Hugh Hefner. And this is setting the stage of that blackmail. They think they got boss, and boom, all of a sudden it's on them. And it almost feels like they're playing into the hands of this narrative of this, psychological operation as it kind of turns on them. But again, going back to what Mike Johnson leaked a few months back when this started, when this whole Epstein thing started, he kind of slipped out how Boss might have been like a confidential blah, blah, blah. And it makes you wonder, Boss is so close to everyone, good, bad, the ugly. I mean, what if, man, we found out he had that Q clearance, still into his presidency. We found that out. And then all of a sudden, now we're finding out that he might have, other connections. So this is going to open up more than we even know. And I think that it's going to, unveil the entire Epstein crime syndicate going back to when we learned it. And this is killing us on the inside because we know it all. But watching Boss kind of, masterfully put this out as a show, even though, the left are running with he's being disrespectful to the victims and whatnot. Well, look at where the victims actually came from. A Soros, NGO funded crime syndicate as well. So this is all wrapping up into the deep state, which transfers to Antifa, which transfers to our border, which transfers to Sleepy Joe, and America's waking up. But like I said, we need arrests. We need to have actual people that were doing the crimes to actually get arrested. That's the whole point of this. You don't get out of jail.
Exactly. No deals. Anybody else want to make a comment on that, Space Shot?
Well, I would just point out what you showed last week about Plaskett, the rep from the Virgin Islands, texting or emailing with Jeffrey Epstein back and forth. But I had a little idea in my head. Remember, it was not so long before that, maybe a year or so, that her staffers leaked her nude photos. Remember the topless photos of Stacey Plaskett? So I'm thinking like maybe that was like step one of like she didn't want to cooperate, and it's like, all right, you don't want to help me? Boom, we have some staffers release some photos, and that's maybe not the worst of it. Hey, we got worse, but we need Plaskett to work with us. So I'm saying that's a possible, a possible route that she was blackmailed herself live during a congressional hearing while talking with with Plaskett with Epstein there. So you never know. But all I know is it seems like we got the same usual suspects, like Hulk noted with Boasberg, right? But it's all the same people, all the same lawfare from the very beginning.
Just got to pay attention to the patterns, because conspiracy theorists are really good at pattern recognition. Let's keep going. Got this coming out from the boss man, so let's get a little bit of this.
Of all the perverts in government, I'd say he's the biggest one, and quite frankly, it's not even close. On a semi-related note, the Epstein whodunit has been explained to me in exhaustive detail over the weekend, and I have changed my mind completely on the entire debacle, and I can assure you it's a debacle, total debacle. Many Americans are retarded, but many aren't. The non-retarded members of the public have shown tremendous resolve in demanding answers for an issue that calls into question the legitimacy of our institutions. Chimping, always chimp, that's what they say. If a large portion of your government can be directed to support nation-destroying policies because they're blackmailed, you don't have a country, you've got a problem. A big problem. Not even in the zip code of small. All the purpose.
Oh, the AI's getting out of control there. Let's keep going. Oh, what else do I got here? Oh, yeah, Space Shot, read that.
Yoki Hans M again. Larry Summers was Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary and Barack Obama's Director of National Economic Council. So, of course, now that he's been exposed as an Epstein associate who sought Epstein's, quote, wingman skills to pursue romantic relationship with the daughter of a senior Chinese Communist Party official, the fake news is focused on Harvard instead. What kind of advice was he getting, dude? Like chloroform and types of rags to put in the chloroform?
Exactly. I don't know, but he steps down from OpenAI board, so I had to throw this out. Wow, I didn't know that. You're telling me this for the first time. We just released the files on you, Larry Summers. Also, he showed up at Harvard right here. We'll get his 30 seconds, a little announcement here, as he's not going to teach anymore.
Some of you will have seen my statement.
Oh, it's quiet.
Regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein, and that I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities but for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching public. So with your permission, we're going to go forward and talk about the material in the class.
Yeah, he's out of Harvard.
Well,
he was there one day.
That's when you're supposed to yell out, "Pedo! You're a pedo!" Like, why are they just? Oh, I'm gonna retire from my classical. I'm gonna, my educate. Like, seriously, man, bring in the jails, bring in the handcuffs, citizen arrest, pedo, call them out.
Here's the thing that about Larry Summers and about Epstein in general. When you consider the Epstein files, and a lot of the stuff that's going to be coming out is going to be unclassified and redacted. We know that, and so I don't think we who have been studying this for years are going to have any kind of surprises here. But here's the thing to consider: he was talking with key politicians and elites of the political class in governments all around the world. Why? I mean, he was trying to get in with Lavrov and trying to convince the Russians. He was trying to do stuff in Syria and advise and give information to the Russians about Donald Trump, supposedly, and meeting with Ehud Barak. And then Larry Summers, who former State Department. We talked about Larry Summers related to Venezuela. That was 3, 4, 5 years ago that we talked about his role down there. I can't even, God, it's been that long, maybe 6 years ago. And so Epstein is not just some nobody. He's connected to and has been working on influence operations like the honeypot stuff, like Hugh Hefner, whatever, And he was in with all kinds of different foreign governments trying to sell information to the highest bidder. And that's his MO, right?
Yep.
So when the president of the United States seemed to not want to go full hard and push this out, a lot of people got upset. A lot of people in MAGA got upset even, and the MAGA party was split. And so this decision to finally go ahead and back it, whether or not this was 5D chess or just political expediency because he got swatted in the elections just recently. And I have insiders that are telling me that, yeah, they have been having a lot of talks in the last week, and he called in his pollsters and started to look at some stuff about a lot of different things, and he started to change course and change direction from some bad advice he's been given. So thank God for that. And
Thank God.
So anyway, it's turning an L into a W, hopefully.
Hopefully. Oh, yes, exactly. What else do we got over here?
Somebody doesn't understand 5D chess quite yet.
Voted no to release the Epstein files. The next morning, this happened. Clay Higgins is accosting this man, asking him questions of why you didn't want to vote to release. So the only guy that didn't vote to release the Epstein files is accosting a guy for filming and asking questions that says you're a pedophile, basically is what he was calling him.
That's assault, man. You can't do that. Definitely assault. Even a Congress.
That's battery.
You need to calm down.
Assault and battery, absolutely.
So, yeah, a little bit of panic in D.C. Not sure why he voted that way. But let's go check what the polls are at. Epstein confirmed as a foreign agent has been rising up here as we get there. So Polymarket's saying, yeah, it's going to probably turn out that way as we start going that way. Let's see if it keeps going. Just a little bit of Polymarket. Some of the other things that were released right here. It says Prince Andrew's biographer says in a leaked video that Epstein and Melania were lovers. They had a sexual relationship between each other. That's coming out from that guy. I'm just saying, this is what the news is throwing out there. What else do we got? Oh, yeah, we're just going to play this one because, yeah, let's see what these people say.
In the unedited version of that interview, I asked the Congresswoman how she knows about Jeffrey Epstein's connections to intelligence. She answered, the victim's attorneys. When I asked why would the victim's attorneys know something about national intelligence and foreign intelligence, she responded, because those attorneys have interviewed Epstein's bodyguard. When I asked the name of that bodyguard, the Congresswoman said she would get back to us. As of this moment, she has not given us a comment on the name of that bodyguard. We, of course, did our own digging, though, and there is a name out there of a bodyguard. Now, is this the same one referenced by Congresswoman Luna? We don't know. But Igor Zinoviev has been reported on. Tara Palmieri reported that she spoke with one of Epstein's victims' attorneys and that Zinoviev had warned off that attorney to back off because of Epstein's shadowy connections to the U.S. government. Now, it's not clear exactly if Zinoviev is who was referenced by the Congresswoman, but we are on the hunt. We are interested. What is she talking about? Can she back up her claims? Because they're certainly explosive. And if true, they need the light of day. We would love to speak to Zinoviev or anyone that might be the bodyguard that has more information that can.
So the more information comes out, the more questions I have about how infiltrated this particular operation was. And I wouldn't be surprised if it turns out to be an Israeli bodyguard. I'm just saying. Same group with Charlie Kirk. Oh!
The thing to understand related to Epstein and our government, and when I say our government, I mean our shadow government and our deep state government, is that these intelligence assets, the world of intelligence and clandestine operations is very hybridish now, and so it's like this person or that person may work for multiple different governments and feeding them stuff. And Epstein is more of that type than specifically working for Mossad or anything like that. Yes, he did. Yes, he did do stuff for them. Yes, he did try to get in with the Russians to do stuff with the Russians. Yes, he did try to get in with stuff related to Britain and the UK. The guy was everywhere. Here's the other thing that is understand about this: the Biden administration and their corrupt DOJ, FBI, whatever, they had all this information, and they could have tried to destroy Donald Trump with this. If there was anything in there related to Donald Trump that was destructive, they would have used it, and they can't. Even if there was something, they can't, because too much of it then would open up Pandora's box and come back and bite them in the ass, and a lot of those Democrats. And so Trump is 100% right when he said it would affect the Democrats more. But even so, it also is something that the U.S. as its agenda to not release information that's damaging to the U.S., even though it is done wrong. That's one of the key things that this Epstein Transparency Act beat the executive branch. Let's call it that. I won't call it the Trump administration. Beat the executive branch bureaucracy and won, which is something that the MAGA has wanted and elected Donald Trump to do.
All right. What else do I got here? What did Pam Bondi say that they wanted to talk about the whole Epstein debacle and release? Because everybody's saying, remember the 10,000 hours that she said she supposedly saw that had video that they needed to look at? Yeah, that whole story.
Again, while protecting victims, but also providing maximum transparency.
To that. Madam Attorney General, the DOJ statement earlier this year saying that the files would not release mentioned the fact that the review of the documents and the evidence did not suggest that any additional investigation of third parties was warranted. What changed since then that you launched this investigation?
Information that has come for information. There's information new information, additional information, and again, we will continue to follow the law, to investigate any leads. If there are any victims, we encourage all victims to come forward, and we will continue to provide maximum transparency under the law.
So yeah, information. What kind of information? Information.
Under the
information.
law. I love that. Under the law. That means that, well, it's
grand jury material. You can't use that. Sources and methods, no. Videos, no. All right. So let's keep going. And again, to withhold or redact any material that could endanger national security or jeopardize active federal investigations. So it's going to take 30 days, guys. Other side of that, Space Shot, read that for everybody.
The alert: House Oversight Chairman James Comer is prepared to refer Bill and Hillary Clinton to the DOJ over their refusal to testify in front of Congress about their ties to Epstein. Comer, quote, I expect the Clintons to be met with the same fate that Bannon and Navarro were met with. Ooh, Hulk, remind me, what happened in Bannon and Navarro? Where did they go?
Well, Peter Navarro got locked up at the bottom of Congress's jail. And they left him there for like a day and then brought him back out. Bannon, he actually went to jail for a little bit. So yeah, interesting. Let's lock them all up. That's going to be great, dude, if they get that done. We'll see. But they were supposed to testify this week and they declined to show up. Let's see. What else we got? Here, you want to read that for everybody, Space Shot? Tell me what you think.
Ron, can you read this, please?
President Boss trolls Hillary Clinton hours before signing the bill to release Epstein files. A few hours before President Trump signed the bill to release the Jeffrey Epstein files, he posted an article with a photo of Evergreen shipping containers. Evergreen was HRC's Secret Service name, and allegedly shipping containers are used to traffic children. I love Liz. Hillary, along with Epstein and other associates. There it is, guys. But I mean, this is a nice one, man. The way that Boss has been dropping deltas, Saudi Arabia, memes, and all this fun stuff. And again, the Evergreen containers, this has always been one of those conspiracies within a conspiracy, Long Beach. And again, the Clinton Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and their connection to Jeffrey Epstein. I mean, we found that out many years ago that Epstein donated to their foundation. So this is going to get really nasty. And Boss is just dropping hint after hint that he's with us in this movement. And maybe a few roadblocks still ahead. But let's get that midterm and, man, right there. Evergreen shipping, baby.
Yeah, almost there. What else do we got? We could skip that guy there. Okay, so notable high-Q Congressman Jasmine Crockett alleges Jeffrey Epstein is still alive and donated to Lee Zeldin in 2020. She basically quickly went through a quick name search of donators and came up with another Epstein by accident.
Folks who also took money from somebody named Jeffrey Epstein, as I had my team dig in very quickly: Mitt Romney, the NRCC, Lee Zeldin, George Bush, Win Red, McCain Palin.
So it was a totally different Jeffrey Epstein. So, oops. Yeah, same name, same spelling. Sorry for that guy. I think he lives in Michigan somewhere, being called out by her. So, yeah. The other scene is Brooklyn. Barack Obama over here had a dinner with Epstein back in 2013 about funding his congressional run into Congress over here, and he's all kind of tight-lipped and don't want to say too much about it. All he's going to do is flip and try to turn it back on the Republicans, and Donald Trump is basically what they are doing here at this point. But everybody remains kind of quiet and don't want to talk about Epstein anymore on the Democratic Party anymore this week. So. Thoughts?
But isn't that interesting? Like, we haven't, like, did anyone know that Hakeem Jeffries was mixed in with an Epstein in the past? I mean, I don't even think that I think that he might have even forgotten. That's how silly this whole thing is that they push, knowing that they have, dirt on, within themselves. And how's that not going to come out? It almost feels like this is supposed to be this way. But man, Hakeem Jeffries, no good.
Boomerang suicide?
Yeah,
Dude,
always comes back.
How long do you guys think that information about, that Hulk played last week about Plaskett and Epstein emailing and talking back and forth? Like, how long do you think they knew that? Like, do you think they just found that out? I mean, obviously they just released it, but I think they've known it for quite some time. So I think we're on a little bit of a timetable here that's dovetailing quite nicely.
Yeah, exactly. House Oversight Committee has subpoenaed J.P. Morgan and Deutsche Bank for Jerry Epstein's financial records. Probably going to have to show up to testify. Yeah, two groups that were settling with the victims. Deutsche Bank.
Hey, Massengill has the best banks ever. No, 0%, 12-year interest.
Yeah, exactly. Goldman Sachs employees shocked after exec caught up in Epstein scandal, set a don't have email. So, you're having more people have to step down CEO positions tied into these emails. It's only getting bigger as we go through there. Long as we're talking about Democratic problems here, they're running out of money. They took out a $15 million loan for the DNC in October and only had $300,000 left in the bank. So which $15 million came from the loan. So they don't have nothing. So you're wondering why they're not organized. That's what we're running into. So no more Hillary Clinton cash coming in to bail them out, right?
Oh, definitely.
There's no more Ukrainian money coming in to bail them out.
No more money. Hulk, let me read off one of these Rumble rants because it's actually pertinent a little bit. MC Ryder, thanks for the $5 Rumble rant. MC Ryder 740 said, Clay Higgins actually explained why he voted against it. He said there was more to it. He's a patriot, in my opinion. He went live and explained it. Love you all. So thank you for that. And I agree too. Remember, he was the guy that was talking about the FBI vans that were backing in during J6. And also Miller Biz, thank you for the $5 Rumble rant. Says, hi everyone, Table of Titan rules Thursday night. There's no other show like it. Great information, great humor. Rock on. Appreciate that, both of you. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to make it funny. That's the whole thing about this. What else do we got for you? Okay, so the whistleblower in Adam Schiff's mortgage group just got a big giant grand jury subpoena. They want everything, including information from Bill Pullett and his staff, Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. I mean, they're going right down the list of all the investigators and everything that they're getting tied up into. The grand jury wants to see it. So it's a little concerning, but okay, keep going. We'll see what you guys want, but they want some stuff from the actual investigation side itself. So we'll see what happens. There's something to put on your radar. I just thought was interesting. What else do we?
Isn't that weird that they would ask for that? Like how?
Yeah.
Hulk, I mean, Hulk and Rdoc, like how can they friggin'? This is an investigation on Schiff, but now she wants all the talkings back and forth about Bill Pulte. It would have to be only his information and talking about Schiff case, right?
Unless they're discrediting the witness. That's why the only thing I can think of, so they can drop the case. So that's my thought.
And earlier, that story you had like 2 or 3 ago with Deutsche Bank, didn't she end up turning in to be a government employee, Rdoc? Kathleen Rumler? She was like CEO or something, part of Deutsche Bank.
Rumspringer.
But yeah, Kathleen Rumler, she turned into the government, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that is my recollection as well.
Hey, okay, this next one's for Tron. Tron?
Oh boy, Danny Scavs. Dear government friends, please stop talking to me with acronyms. It's too much. I don't know half the shit you're saying. Just be honest. Thank you so very much, thank you so much. There it is. Dan Scavino getting aggressive. And now, now that he's in position, holy shit. Dear civilian, oh my goodness. Yeah, that's a lot of acronyms there. Dan has to learn all those. Dan knows all these, at least half of them.
We acknowledge your Ken Ops, and I just thought it was funny. Awesome. He went through and listed them all. This was replied to Dan over here, so I just thought it was funny about all the decodes in the worlds. But we got nothing is what is coming, where we go one, we go all, those sort of things.
Well, Mike Pompeo got that new job, right, Doc, in Ukraine for that company. So I guess Mike's not DMing Dan anymore.
Yeah, we got Pompeo in the shuffle and what he's doing over there. Yeah, we got it.
We'll get to that one. Trump administration drafting an executive order that would direct the Justice Department to sue states that pass laws regulating artificial intelligence, according to a copy reviewed by the Post. So they want to be fast moving in the AI stuff that is coming out here, guys. They don't want any of the states' laws slowing any of this stuff down, even though they might want to protect a particular group or whatever it might be. They want to bulldoze them. Go ahead.
States will win that one in constitutional court. This is the Fed trying to strong arm the states, and
that's what I thought too.
Commerce is strictly regulated, and no, he's going to lose that one.
On the AI front over here, Oracle seems to be taking in the shorts over here about their floating $100 billion around doing 3 companies over here affecting OpenAI and Oracle, and they're losing a bunch of money. And a lot of people are spending money on data centers and energy, and there's really nobody paying for the leases here yet. It is a push, and some of the companies are going to fall by the wayside. It's going to happen just like the .com bubble. And they're kind of looking at Oracle right here at this with their particular bet right here, because they're not making any money until 2030. It's a loss. They're going to be throwing, I think they said like $35 billion every year, just to keep the data centers and everything they're investing running with OpenAI and everybody. We'll keep an eye on it. What else do we got? Oh, August trade deficit fell to $60 billion, the lowest this year. So again, they're doing pretty good.
Deficit,
yes.
That's not debt. That means that's our trade imbalance, and that's because of the tariffs, to some degree. So we're not importing as much as what it is. The imports fell. We're exporting maybe the same or less, but basically that means we're not getting as much product in to our country as we used to get.
Yay. What else we got? Jobs numbers came out. They're saying that we got 119,000 new jobs as they're going through. So it's interesting. It seems like it's a rah thing with the way some of the numbers are coming out here, that everybody kind of got lock, stop, and barrel out here. They're also coming out here. It says 2.5 million native-born Americans gained employment and 670,000 foreign-born lost work. So they're saying, obviously, as this year goes on, we are losing jobs for the foreign-born workers and gaining more in our regular public out there in America itself. So numbers a little wonky, including because of the shutdown, but just some of those things I thought was interesting to put it in there. They're talking about firing Powell and all that. He's got 3 months left to get him out the door. I do want to throw this comment out from Elon Musk talking about AI, because the Saudis are here and they're doing a big investment and all that fun jazz. And of course, F1, I think, was canceled out in Vegas because of all the rain. But what did Elon have to say about AI and jobs coming up here?
And if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which this seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now, there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. the fundamental physics elements will still be constraints. But I think at some point, currency becomes irrelevant.
Jensen, any thoughts?
By the way, the NVIDIA earnings call is later today.
And by the way, since currency is relevant.
Cheers.
So they had a big laugh about that. And of course, they also ask him about the AI bubble that is coming. And he says there are some of the companies that are going to fall by the wayside, just like .com. So it will have quite a big hiccup in the system itself. But in the end, in the long run, it says it's going to be a good move. So we'll see what happens. That's on the AI thing over there. Oh, yeah, here's the other thing. Trump administration has approved a $1 billion federal loan to restart the 3 Mile Island nuclear reactor. Oh, you mean the one that Microsoft pledged $1.5 billion to buy all the power from for the next 20 years? That one? Yeah, that same one. So I'm just saying that's what they're doing with this. The other side of this, there's another one here. Actually, we're going to get this because he talks about 2 reactors.
You know, we have another nuclear power plant we're restarting in southwestern Michigan. That one will actually be on early next year. And we just used emergency authorities to extend the life again of a 1.5 gigawatt coal power plant in southwest Michigan. There's so many ways that we just got to stop digging a hole and driving up electricity prices like the Biden administration did. We're going to bring back and build new, affordable, reliable.
So it was one. So one nuclear reactor in Michigan, another one's a coal-fired one out there, and then they're investing in the 3 Mile Island, which isn't supposed to be start up until 2028, just to put it in perspective for everybody. So that's what's going on because we got the most data centers on the planet itself. So they're showing us we have, what they listed up here, 538 or 5,300 data centers compared to China or Germany or the rest of the people over here. So just kind of interesting on how much data and infrastructure we do have built into the United States. China likes a thin model is what I'm understanding with their AI. Easier to run on the hardware they have. What else do we got? That was AI. What else do we got? The federal government is suing California. They want access to all the Social Security number, voter registration, everything that they have been giving out. They also had the problem with the CDL license because they were using California and a couple of the other states as a CDL trucking mill, basically. So they're basically a 2-op thing. They're looking at the investigation. They're looking into this and then also the licenses. So interesting things. And again, it seems like they're hiding from the budget shortfall. They said that they were only going to be down 18 billion, but it ends up being double the amount. And plus, there also had that investigation of the 24 billion where they spent on homeless in California. They don't have any of those tiny homes anywhere to show. So yeah, they're looking at that too. So Gavin Newsom's got some issues coming out of California here. What else do we got over here? Oh, read this. Space Shot.
California Globe. California Senator Scott Wiener's legislation protects sex offenders who have homosexual sex with minors from state sex offender registry. Running for Nancy Pelosi's seat, it allows a 24-year-old to have sex with a 14-year-old, relaxing the penalties for having non-forcible sodomy, oral copulation, and sexual penetration with a minor. These people are just, I mean, dude, why do they always have to look the part, too? Like, you would never leave this guy alone with one of your kids.
Well, it's not a guy, it's a gal. No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know about that.
How else are you going to get a part in a Hollywood movie unless you can suck a dick?
So again, this guy who wrote the legislation in California that everybody talked about and Space Shot has mentioned itself, it's also going to run for Nancy Pelosi's congressional district next season. So I thought that was interesting. They're looking at the voter rolls. They want that. California is introducing legislation that they want to tax your savings account. Let's see if that makes it through all the governors, everything. Dude, seriously, if you make over a certain amount, they're going to tax your savings account. We're going to keep going there. The other side of this is
you guys will vote it in like you did.
I'm
What was
sure
the
they
other
will,
one?
dude.
The gasoline tax or something like that. It was like, yeah, we all voted yes. It's like, yeah, okay, that's not rigged.
Yeah, it's not rigged. The other side of this, California and a couple of the other states are freaking out that Border Patrol is using the license plate leaders. They say hidden. The new thing is they're basically using it with AI now. The readers have been there for 10 years. They're integrating the AI so they can look at all the vehicles running by. So if they see certain rental cars, different vehicles, unusual habits and stuff, they pull them over. So they're starting to catch a lot of these people here, and you can kind of see some of the. Do they have the AI thing in here? Did they have it somewhere in here?
They can
One of
detect
these.
the dark skin. If you're brown, you must slow down.
Oh my God.
They wear white masks in the car.
Yeah. So it's happening. They're complaining about that.
In Texas, we've had that for years where the vehicle's driving, they scan the license plates and everything. By the time they get up to the checkpoints, they know who's in the car and who shouldn't be in the car.
So you could see what the AI is doing and all those sort of things. So people are freaking out about that. So that's part of their new system. What else do we want to go? Massive raid over in San Antonio, taking out a big gang center. They got over 140 illegal aliens. A big gang bust. They were totally surprised. Other side of that, and again, I wanted to throw this out here. Did you know that in 1982, Supreme Court ruled that the landmark case of Pyler versus Doe, which established the public schools could not deny illegal aliens from receiving a free taxpayer-funded education? Obviously, they got to prove that there's some sort of resident or whatever, but I just thought that was interesting when that came out there because nobody showed up for school over here. Elementary schools in Charlotte, North Carolina are reporting a whopping 65% of their students are absent because Border Patrol are conducting arrests in the area.
65%? That's a lot, dude.
Yep.
So breaking, Border Patrol agents surge into North Carolina. 15% of the entire county school population missed school. A total of 20,000 students were absent that day. I had to go look. Make sure we're all on the same page, dude.
Yeah. Recess was cut short.
So what did traffic look like? I'm just saying.
That's about, Hulk, you've even mentioned that you've seen it a little bit by you.
Hell yeah. It has. And there's a lot less graffiti and trash and all that. So, I mean, when they said.
Stands, that's fine. Chipotle, let's go.
I haven't seen any of those. So, the little fruit stands and taco stands, those are all gone. I don't see them
They're all
anymore.
at Taco Bell because they ran for the border.
You're so wrong. What else we're going to get into? So construction sites run entry around many Charlotte, North Carolina areas. Empty. Nobody showed up. So that's happening as they're doing Charlotte. So
that's those jobs, man. Those jobs that you were talking about that are being replaced.
Exactly. And I thought this is interesting here. It says, look at the decline of the population of young children under the age of 5 in major cities between 2005 and 24. Catastrophic. Like Austin is up 98% because they got a lot of Muslims there. Orlando, 89, a lot of Mexicans. Raleigh, that's where we had that whole illegal aliens in North Charlotte. All those areas, it seems like these are all the illegal aliens, but Chicago, Boston, New York, LA, and San Francisco are dropping.
It's a free birth. I mean, why wouldn't you come to America, get government assistance, free jobs under the table, and then on top of that, you do this kind of deal. So why not take advantage of an open border and a free system? This is excellent.
Yeah, exactly, dude. It's crazy numbers. What else do we want to get into before I kick it over there? Oh, yeah. Confirmed. All 42 million SNAP recipients will be required to reapply. 29 states and 21 with blue check marks have not. So 29 states on the Republican side said, yeah, they're going to comply. So everybody has to re-register.
Are you seeing the same information that I'm seeing about SNAP? Is that this is really a program that was lobbied for the benefit of certain big agricultural, big food companies?
Oh, yeah. China, or what was it? Coke gets $40 billion a year from from SNAP. So it's pretty crazy on some of the numbers. Did I grab it over here? Oh, yeah. Nearly half of all immigrants in Minnesota, St. Paul, Twin Cities are found to have committed some sort of immigration fraud. That's half of the immigrants that were there. So again, that's Ilhan Omar's area over there. Also, if you're talking about Texas, what was his name? Greg Abbott has listed CARE as a foreign terrorist organization. So, but again, you can look at all the mosques that have been built in the last 2 years. Last 2 years, guys.
Yeah, I got one run by my house there in the suburb of Houston. One thing related to Texas that I just want to break up while you're doing that. So Abbott and others, the legislature passed a law in Texas that required the posting of the 10 Commandments in every single classroom. And they went through the process during the summer break of installing all those posters. The administration had to come in, teachers couldn't do it. Just the other day, evidently, it got repealed. And a lot of people filed lawsuits and et cetera, et cetera. And so now I think by the end of this month or sometime here, or maybe early December, those all have to be taken down.
But they could have a designated prayer room for the Muslims in the state. I'm just saying. Probably. They say that's okay. What else are we going? ICE announced Operation Welfare Check. They're going to go after the 450,000 migrants. They're going to go through the entire list and try to figure out where everybody is at. That was announced. What else do we want to throw in here? What was this? Trump State Department under Marco Rubio has revoked a staggering 80,000 foreign nationals since January, torturing 16,000 for DUIs, 12,000 for assaults, and 8,000 for theft as these come out this year. So they're accelerating a lot of the stuff out there. There's a Michigan lady basically has $74 million in revenue who hired 200 illegal aliens to do a lot of plumbing and house repair or whatever. They've gone after her because they were kind of running it as like a sweatshop, but for contracting or whatnot there. So they've gone over there, arrested them. And this is from 2022 to 2025. This company has roughly estimated $74 million in using illegal work and basically taking their...
that.
Yeah, it's bad.
He pays for them to live. He gives them food, and then they ship them out. They come in droves, and you clean up. It's sad, but you have no choice during pandemic. That's what they did, and it's bad. We have to stop that.
Yeah, these guys were taking passports and overcrowding the whole thing, substandard, all those things. They're like hotel rooms, basically. What else we got? I want to get to the very last part over here. Democratic Party established a shadow government roughly through the NGO. They're saying they're going to stop all the support of the NGO networks here at this point, is what Chrissy Noem has said. So let's see if they hold on to this and continue with it. And we want to get
Congress to act on that because most of those NGOs are funded through the NDAAs that Congress passes.
Yep. Anybody Space Shot or Space Shot? Read this for everybody.
Yeah, I found this one to be pretty crazy. Developing. Fox has learned multiple arrests are underway or imminent in the transnational drug ring of former Canadian Olympic snowboarder Ryan Wedding, who's on the FBI's most wanted list with a $10 million bounty, which I think they just raised to 15, for being murderous mastermind of a drug ring that shipped cocaine from Canada into the U.S. Canadian press has reported one of the arrests. Wedding is believed to be hiding out in Mexico and protected by the cartels.
Oh, he's CIA.
So $1 billion a year group, basically. Yeah, this is American made, just like they were doing. Even Cash says it right here.
Good movie.
Here, right here. A little bit of this.
Drug king evade the law. Make no mistake about it. Ryan Wedding is a modern-day iteration of Pablo Escobar. He's a modern-day iteration of El Chapo Guzman. This Justice Department and this FBI will work with our Canadian counterparts and the government officials across the world.
You kind of get the idea. So, yeah, they arrested him. They also have the California guy over here giving announcements, too. So this tied into California some way, which I find interesting because he's the California Attorney General over here. So he's making comments. Canada dude over here is saying we're still looking for somebody else, but we don't know. We can't tell you who it is, but there's somebody else very important we're looking for, and I can't tell you who it is.
This is the most action that Canada has had ever since, what's his face, Nickelback. This is great.
This is great. And again,
Can't tell you who he is either, but we're also going to let nobody has to fill out documents or show their documents and get checked when they go into the border if you're an illegal alien now.
Right through customs.
Yeah, that was true. They check these check marks and walk right through, which is absolutely crazy. But FBI is coming out with a list of people associated with it that they're looking for. There's a long list of people over here. And then the other guy over here from Canada is talking about transnational gangs, and we've got 5 of them in our country, and there's nothing we can do. And talks about the walk across the border, no big issue. We're understaffed, so there's nothing that's going to happen. So, bing, that happened. Also illegal, this is huge, illegal cannabis operation busted operating in Canada over here with over 180,000 plants worth $200 million across multiple sites. Place is huge here as we look at it, drug bust going across. So a lot.
That's in Mohawk territory, man. That's what it's saying there. It's Mohawk territory.
Yep.
That's funny.
So that happened. Also, what's her name? DNI over here, they'd made their announcement that they got 49,000 pounds of cocaine worth $362 million. I think this is down in Miami, another big bust that they had gotten. That's a lot of drugs, dude, to come across over here. Then I ran by this story over here. This guy buys a storage locker, opens it up. It has a whole bunch of these containers in here. And he found one of the 6th largest bust of fentanyl pills ever in the United States. Found in a storage locker.
Dude, Storage Hunters was awesome.
1 million fentanyl pills.
What was that, Storage Wars? He would have won. He would have won.
Yeah. Imagine that resale value, baby. Come on.
3,000. I'll bet 3,000 on that one. But how many pills, Hulk?
1.7 million.
All right.
I bought a storage locker for $300 and I sold it for 1.6.
That's like
And I
200.
sold it to George Floyd's
Think about
family.
that. Well, think about
That's
that
like
just for a
$200
second.
million, dude. That's a shitload of money here that somebody
Depends on if
left.
it's cut up, though. Is it pure fen or is it, a little bit of
it's-
baking soda?
Pill form.
They're pills.
Oh,
They're ready to go.
So we
Yeah.
joke about this from time to time, the 1.7 thing,
Look.
right? The 17, the 1.7. But think about it. You guys think they really counted every one of those pills and said, yeah, it's 1.7 million pills? Like, come on, guys. Like, there's no way somebody
And
would
they-
One by
every
one.
single last one. And, was
And they
like, no.
paid somebody government wages to do it.
Exactly.
Mexican
Guess
from
how
Home
many
Depot.
jelly beans?
Yeah.
Let me grab a handful.
All right, let's keep going. Here's another bust, San Bernardino, a couple of days ago. Look at all that cocaine sitting on the front of that guy's cruiser right
Someone's
there.
gonna rob that car. Like, someone's gonna pull up.
San Bernardino. I told you, San Bernardino.
Like,
This
the guy
is down the
that's filming should
street.
just go grab that like $18 billion street value. Like, who does that just on the? Of course, California would.
Yeah, good old San Bernardino down the street for me. We got to keep going. I got to give it to you. Here's the other sign over here. Evidently, Mexico put some signs on a beach declaring it's the restricted area for Mexico. And the United States said, nah, we came over here and we took over the particular, kind of what they did over in Texas, kind of taking over a little bit of the Mexico side and cleaned it all up. So there's a border thing going on down here. So I just thought it was interesting because Scheinbaum doesn't want the United States to attack them. So this seems to be a contention point on this beach as they pounded signs that says restricted area.
Plant a couple of mines.
Okay, the other thing I want to throw out here quickly as we get over to our doc side, local TV journalist in Utah submitted a request record twice asking for the arrest video of Tyler Robinson, and they basically says it doesn't exist. What do you mean? You don't have any body cam footage? How about the hallway? How about outside the building? Sorry, we don't have anything. Sorry.
Are they supposed to dig something up that doesn't exist, Hulk? I mean, the whole damn thing, front to back, from start to finish. Hold on.
Read that right there.
Among the getting ridiculous at this point. Among the 17 accountants uncovered by our source, only one on PayPal was operated under an alias. Rod Swanson Rod Swanson is a former senior FBI agent who was the chief of investigations for the state of Nevada during the 2017 Las Vegas mass
That's good
shooting.
enough.
Oh, and guess
So,
what?
yeah.
I actually somebody told me Red Pill had mentioned my son's video there on Fox, and so I went over to say thank you. And he was covering this story as it happens, and he happened to say, Rod Swanson there was like, oh yeah, set up a PayPal. He goes, I don't even know how to use PayPal or something. Like I wouldn't even know how to set up a PayPal, which is like laughable because like a 10-year-old could do.
Oh my God.
Look down below there. Firearms instructor in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Connected to crooks. See?
Hey, I don't even want to know anymore. What else do we got? Anything else important we want to throw here at the end over here? Oh, did you guys know that the press secretary is married to somebody that's 32 years older than she is?
I didn't know his age, but I knew
That's
he was a lot
awesome.
older.
He is tied into some things too.
We don't see her, dude.
I'm just going to leave it alone there. We
This
can leave
is
the
sick.
fetish artist for Saturday.
That was sick.
What else do we want to go into? Is there anything else I want to throw in here? Anything last little bits? Oh, yeah, read this as a headline.
Right, we
Hey,
have
Sean?
Patch McCain here. Justin, Patch McCain has been banned by congressional Republicans from international travel for 3 months after an alcohol-related episode during a delegation trip in Mexico.
Look, it's from Punch Bowl News. How funny is that?
So the other thing is, you all remember when he was doing the interview, kind of drunk, and somebody asked him about a question about Tucker Carlson. He's all, if I ever said Tucker Carlson, I'd punch him right in the face, and walked off camera. He was kind of drunk there at that time, so there's evidence out there. I'm just saying.
Hey man, PTSD is real. You should.
Yeah, Mr. Eye Patch himself. What else are we going to get into? We got that done. We're going to kick. I'm just going through, make sure I haven't skipped anything that's important here. Yeah. 6ix9ine, the rapper, his house got invaded. It might be from the Island Boys that were basically trying to rob him or set it up. I'm not entirely sure, so he can delay his sentencing over there. And then, of course, they had Gay Boy over there with them. What's his name? I can't even remember his name. They did a live stream that night. It was weird. I don't even know where to put it. But that's the story I'm hearing out there. What else do we got? And then here's Mr. Rdoc's lead in for MBS right here coming down to the United States.
Wow. Wide load. That's like a Saudi Arabian.
What's that thing on the back?
That's a ghost of the last Saudi prince that stepped down.
That's the radar thing.
Khashoggi's ghost. Yeah, that's
He's right.
Oh yeah, that guy came back up too. Oh God, what else do we got? I'm gonna kick it to you because I got too much.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's kick it to you.
Do the commercial.
We got the commercial. Commercial. What do we go look at the refresh?
Your favorite crypto ninja over there.
Yeah, we're doing crypto. You want to do crypto?
Oh, with the bow, the bang, get bang. I want to get a copyright strike because my. Yep. Ready, let me know. He's the voice of an angel.
Commercial!
Break for 30 seconds.
Out here we go.
Arms of an angel. Oh, sorry. The dog.
Dude, I just refreshed the whole thing and it just. Pardon?
Bruh.
I know, right? Look, my.
Or we can do it at the end, or however you want to do it.
I already pressed the button, so either I'm going to mute out you guys and do it real quick, or what?
Yeah, it looks like it's gone now. You're gonna have
I'll
to
be right back.
do it. All right. See if I can do it. Weird, it just disappeared on me. So, if I can, go, guys. All right, guys. Looking for smarter ways to browse and enjoy your favorite content without ads? Get the Perplexity Pro bundle with Perplexity Pro bundle with Rumble Premium for just $19.99 a month. when you sign up before December 31st, normally $29.99 of value. With Rumble Premium, you'll get an ad-free viewing experience across all of your devices and access to exclusive premium content. No interruptions, just the videos and streams you love, anytime, anywhere. Plus, Perplexity Pro boosts your productivity with unlimited research, unlimited uploads, exclusive member perks, and access to the latest and most advanced AI models for faster, smarter answers every day. Save over 30% on this powerful bundle. Head over to rumble.com/premium before December 31st to sign up and unlock your premium experience. Listen to these. Rdoc pulled out a map and they're panicking.
It's just a start, man. Yes,
It's round as hell, dude. So
the
round.
representation. Okay. Are we ready?
Yes, sir.
That. Okay. All right, let's get into it. Boom. All right, first thing we're going to do is just some general review is that overall, the situation in Ukraine power generation is getting really desperate. People are having to live with only partial electricity during the day. It's starting to get very cold. We had our first snow of the season just the other day here in the Czech Republic, and I've heard that some other regions in Ukraine also got some snow. So things are getting desperate on the power side. They're being told to get wood. In the city of Kiev, they're being told by the mayor to get wood to prepare for a cold winter and so on and so forth. And it's just a desperate situation. General Mike Flynn had an awesome post the other day that's going to set up the discussion. And I think this is important to understand. And this was on the 14th. And Ukraine war is lost. Who's been saying that? I think we've been saying that for a while now. Ukraine war is lost. U.S. must reconsider all previous decisions made during the Biden administration. It is a disaster. We must find an exit out for the United States immediately. America first. So that's a sentiment that a lot of people in the MAGA community, a lot of people that voted for Donald Trump, expected to already have been done by now. And of course, we were promised that, be done in a week, etc. We all know that that was not really practical, but we understood that that really meant that Biden was never going to try to do it. Harris was never going to try to do it. At least Donald Trump would try to do it. And so agree with the sentiments, Mike Flynn, and we will be bringing that up here in a second. Just to recall the memory, and Hulk, you dropped this, and I think it's appropriate. Back during the overthrow of Viktor Yanukovych, there we got Senator McCain, John McCain, along with Jeffrey Pyatt. I think Graham was there as well, and Victoria Nuland. And they were all celebrating the overthrow of Yanukovych. This was the start of our Ukraine project and our attempt to ultimately overthrow the Russian regime and start piecing it out for the Europeans, which is what they desperately want. Breaking apart the Russian Empire, one of the largest landmass, countries in the world still, and taken over from the Mongolians, basically, which was the largest empire in the world's history so far to date. All right, so with that in mind, because I want to bring this up because this is kind of the start, but it really isn't the start. This was just a start of the current situation, which may be ending soon. We've discussed this on the program, bringing back up an update. So the Netherlands did indeed hand back control of Nexperia to China, and so they've undone everything, and that is, excuse me, as a result of the fact that when Trump went and met with Xi, that Trump had basically agreed to back off and completely undo the September 29th law that went into effect, the 50% rule. And so the Netherlands and the entire auto industry, which was dramatically hurting, and I'm not even kidding, Germany is still in desperate needs. Glass factory was just shut down by Volkswagen, and it's still reeling from the effects of other things, sanctions and whatnot, that Germany is experiencing. But this really hurt the auto industry, including U.S. auto manufacturers. the cars that are made here or in Mexico. This is kind of an interesting story I want to throw here in the start to kind of set things up as well, because it really underscores what is going on. So this little neo-Nazi Kaya Kallas, we've talked about many times. She is 100% a Klaus Schwab, George Soros, project girl, and she is just as crazy as can be, and one of these nutcases over there in charge of the EU. Well, it turns out she's evidently upset with Ursula von der Leyen, because a lot of people in the European Union and the European Commission do not like Kaya Kallas. And they've expressed that publicly, and they've tried to take her out of the spotlight on a number of things and whatnot. And what Ursula von der Leyen has been doing is creating little mini commissions, little mini projects that are encroaching on what is traditionally the foreign minister's role, which is kind of what she is for the European Union. And so she's getting upset with that, and they're starting to have infighting going on between her and Ursula von der Leyen, because, and they're both Germans. They both came out of the same. Sorry, not German. She's Estonian. They're both out of the same mold, and they're both, working for the same people, but they can't help but eat each other up and fight for competition, because that's who they are. They're vacant, vacuous black holes. Related to the EU and sticking with the EU, Slovakia and Prime Minister Fico is considering suing the European Union because of the issues with the Russian gas supplies and whatnot. And he's upset with Zelensky and the fact that they turned off the gas pipeline, and von der Leyen and others have urged them. So von der Leyen has taken a position of a non-EU country over the needs of an EU country. And so Fico is going to create legal havoc for the European Union, and she hates that. Hulk, you want to talk about this one? I think you dropped this one. This is our ambassador, Mike Waltz. If you remember, Mike Waltz is this is where Trump pigeonholed him when he had his texting scandals there, and the Signal, was it Signal that they were using?
Yeah, they were leaking Signal. Yeah, I'll hit you up on Signal. Well,
so go ahead.
The biggest thing is Nicki Minaj has been with kind of not a leaning Republican, but definitely supported a lot of stuff that Trump has been doing over the years itself. In the recent things with the Christians getting murdered in Nigeria, she decided to go make a speech over there at the UN in support for this. So I was just surprised she made it over there. She held to her word. They went over there and did it. I don't know how big of a difference it's going to make, but yeah.
Well, the issue with Christians in Nigeria being murdered, as we discussed last week, it's not just Christians in Nigeria. The Christians in Nigeria, they've been fighting each other, because there's different little groups, and they kind of have some tribal, it's more tribal confrontations than it is religious confrontations. That's been going on for years and years. But the issue with Boko Haram, like we'd explained last week, is that they're just killing everybody in these villages. Muslims mostly. And they're not distinguishing. And so this whole issue about Christians in Nigeria is not really a Christians in Nigeria issue. Just want to make sure people understand it. It's an issue of resources and influence and control of the region that has been going steadily towards BRICS. All right. Institute for the Study of War. This is the Newlands little project. This is Victoria Newlands' family project, the Institute of Study of War, their way of influencing media and the deep state in terms of what's been going on in the world of geopolitics and war, especially in Ukraine. And so in this particular article that they published, a position paper that they just published the other day, of course, perfect timing of the peace plan being announced, is that, oh my God, Russia is forcibly removing 20,000 people, children from Donetsk Oblast to summer camp programs. Okay, well, that's been debunked. The Kremlin-controlled Orthodox Church is expanding youth outreach in occupied Ukraine. Well, why wouldn't they? They are Russian Orthodox Ukrainians. So the Orthodox Church, of course, would be reaching out to their parish, or their it's not called a parish, it's called something else under the Orthodoxy, but their patriarchy, and so of course, but basically the whole article is that the Russians are going to try to Russify all of these Ukrainians, and therefore Ukrainian memory will cease to exist. Well, Ukraine was a fly-by-night memory to begin with. We don't have time to go into the history of this, but the fact that they would publish this at this particular timing shows that they are trying to negatively influence the Trump peace plan. All right. All right, and did you talk about this Hulkinator already? That Ratcliffe and the CIA confirmation about these files. This is not new. I think they may be some new releases, but basically confirming that the U.S. Vice President Biden at the time, who was the overlord of Ukraine, and other officials within Poroshenko's administration privately used at the U.S. media scrutiny of alleged ties to U.S. Vice President's family to corrupt business practices in Ukraine, i.e. Burisma and other things. And so essentially what the deal is basically that the CIA and the entire intelligence community knew about this. And if they knew about this, and of course they knew about the laptop, right, Hulk? They knew about China. They knew about what Hunter Biden was doing. They've known all about all this stuff. So
The positive thing, it's coming out from John Radcliffe over the CIA, who's been very quiet. We haven't heard a peep out of that dude one bit, but he's coming out with the receipts. And that's what I've seen a lot of the departments doing is they fight back. Let me give you the receipts, just enough to push it over, because Vindman's freaking out right now. I don't know if you grabbed that one too.
Yeah, I got a little vitamin piece in there. So basically, though, what this is saying is that they knew he wasn't there to meet with Poroshenko or do anything significant. He was there to conduct private corrupt business deals and stuff like that. And so anyway, and then speaking of Congressman Eugene Vindman, someone want to read that really quick?
Sure.
Not me.
Colonel Towner Watkins, quote, Congressman Eugene Vindman is an intelligence asset. He's doing the bidding of the CIA and yet another attempt to overthrow the U.S. government. Jamal Khashoggi was not a journalist. Not a journalist. He knows it. Khashoggi also an intelligence asset following in the footsteps of his uncle who set the Safari Club in Kenya, when Carter fired all the covert operators in the CIA, so they had a base of operations to plot and plan the government overthrows. If you go back to the Vegas shooting, a planned event using a Gladio operator, it was a false flag to assassinate MBS. MBS threatened the deep state in Saudi Arabia and their CIA Mossad counterparts. 1 year to the date, using Middle East time, Khashoggi was assassinated. MBS rounded up the deep state plotters and arrested them. That's who killed Jamal to set up MSB or MBS. They were also in collusion with MI6, Mossad, and CIA responsible for Vegas. They staged false flags on a regular basis to kill us. History is replete with examples of this, and they even wrote it down in a document called Operation Northwoods. Isn't that the one where they were going to do Cuba, and they were going to basically make it look like Cuba was attacking us, but it was us and remote control stuff?
I'd have to look. There was a couple different Woods projects, and so I'm not going to, at this time of the morning, I'm not going to try to make my memory work on that one. But yeah, so this is in relation, of course, to the fact that Mohammed bin Salman was there, and we'll cover him. And actually,
Wait. This is important because it says after the murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi, I received a call between President Trump and Saudi Crown Prince. They want the copy of that phone call. Now, if you click into the Daily Beast one right there.
Yep.
Okay, they were talking about asking the question during the interview about Jamal Khashoggi and Trump and what you guys talk about. They're making a big deal about this.
So, he was asked about it during the interview, and Trump got pissed off at the journalist. But I think
was that the Miss Piggy comment? I can't remember.
I think we'll get into it here in just a second because I've got some clips from MBS coming right up. And then here's the Canadian deals that Canadian Border Security says they're short-staffed, and so you get to come in the country just by checking a few boxes, which means if they get into Canada, then they can easily get into the United States. So this is basically Canada trying to destroy the whatever they call it, the YMCA Act, and threaten security of the United States. Blah 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 blah. A lot of the I'll call them Arab threats to our country are entering in through the Canadian border rather than Mexican border. But they come both. All right, so let's get into the Mohammed bin Salman official visit to the United States. And so he did come visit, and we got a couple clips here. So let's just go ahead and play the clips and listen to what the people said, and let's comment on it. Actually, come on. Open, there we go.
Humbled by the Home Depot Oval.
Yeah, this is.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust
Who are you with?
And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news. ABC fake news. One of the worst. One of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion, that I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
It was just yes.
Yeah, so he knew nothing about it. That's an official statement by Donald Trump. And so that tape you're discussing, Hulkinator, it could be damaging if it indeed it exists. Vindman, of course, having been there in the National Security Council at the time, could have reviewed it. This little interesting deal came out. Is there actually volume?
No.
Yeah, there.
7 more since you started. At least
This is awesome.
What are you doing?
He's just stretching his neck.
This is a lot of people are saying this is his mannerism.
Yeah.
It's been around for years, and it is true. However, it is also I've encountered this in in my travels.
Is it an FU? Is it FU? We're better. Is it like the nose?
It's more like
go F yourself.
Yeah, it's more like
peasant.
Yeah, who cares? Who cares? You're irrelevant.
He did at the end of the last clip he played. I don't know if you noticed it, but it was so same thing.
Let's watch it again. Want to watch it again? Sorry.
7 more since you started. At least in our part of the world, we are seeing it as a peaceful.
Go ahead.
So wait. I want to throw Tron in here a little bit because we just heard about the one before talking about MBS, Khashoggi, Las Vegas, the shooting, MBS, the Saudi purge. You want to talk about anything like that, Tron?
Well, no, it makes you wonder these questions that are being asked. Boss, said, "Oh, where are you from? Where are you from?" Fake news. But I'll tell you what, Boss didn't stop her from necessarily asking that question, and it kind of makes you, wonder. We're not going to forget about 9/11. We have all these files coming out for, all sorts of, incidences. And the way that he kind of, comes in, MBS, he might be Boss's friend now, but again, that Saudi, that whole area is different over there, guys. That's why Boss kind of made that, loosely joke about, transgender, this. They don't have that over there. And they're trying to turn the new leaf, old guard, new guard. And, the friendship between Boss and MBS is fantastic, but imagine fake news coming in, asking a question and foiling the, probability of trillions upon trillions of dollars. But again, we still need that, that 9/11, that Saudi connection. And again, going back to that country we always, use for last, is there more to this? MBS wants to make these deals, and Israel is on the side. We don't even see this. Bibi's been to the White House 8 times. MBS comes in. We have a flight overhead. We have horses. We have all kinds of stuff. I mean, I'm telling you, man, this is like a Saudi-Israeli kind of conflict going on I don't know.
Remember, we saved his life. The plot was to assassinate him
In
and
Las Vegas, right?
that plot was carried out by the
Or-
group that we just talked about a little bit ago. Actually, well, I think you covered a little bit of this just a little bit ago, Hulk, didn't you? Anyway, so the plot to assassinate him, we stopped. Donald Trump stopped, saved his life, essentially. And so yeah, they went after Khashoggi and they killed him on the freaking anniversary, 1 year to the date. And whether he knew about it or plausible deniability,
they
whatever you want to
tortured.
call it.
They like tortured. It was done well. It was like
They chopped him up with a
it was
chainsaw,
bad.
bro.
It was bad.
When
And
they
they had
got-
the video of like before and after. There was no after. He went in and he never came out.
Really?
Yep.
And Rdoc, just really quick about because Tron, you were mentioning like the Saudi connection to 9/11, and I'm thinking, well, what's the Saudi connection? We have, the Osama bin Laden, right? Was a Saudi national, but he was out of Afghanistan. So is that the cover story for who
Bushes.
really doing it?
Sorry.
No, it's so Bannon
They're all dirty.
was running the consulate, and where a lot of these pilots came through. So it was all a deep state CIA operation, an MI6 operation. Brennan, yeah, what did I say? Bannon? Sorry,
Yeah, I'm like, he wasn't
Brennan.
there.
That's all right. And then Khashoggi at the time was Saudi intelligence, and he was working in D.C. Okay, and so they were all coordinating together, and Khashoggi was involved in that. You got to remember, Jamal is the son or the nephew of Adnan Khashoggi, which was a very famous gun runner working with the CIA and other things to help do our operations around the world. And so, yeah, he was asset all the way. And then Jamal ultimately was working to overthrow the Saudi government, and multiple times tried to have MBS and the royal family overthrown, working with bin Talal. And he was, his cover was to be this news guy, but ultimately he was working to build up a social media following for moderate Arab Muslims that were going to be part of the brain fart Muslim Brotherhood. And that was going to be, so they were going to do a Orange Revolution or whatever they called it, Arab Spring on Saudi Arabia next. And they stopped them. So, okay. Moving on. So related to Saudi Arabia, they're going to be buying some F-35s from us and some other goodies, but they're going to be downgraded versions because compared to Israel's F-35s, because our policy is that we have to ensure Israel has a qualitative military edge in the region. And so, yeah, they're going to get some new jets. Now, Netanyahu also made the comment about that you cannot give the Saudis or any regional state weapons systems and other things that could potentially be used against Israel, blah, 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 blah. But then related to that, he also went on to make this comment. Okay, he's speaking Hebrew, so we're not going to get it. It basically said that the Palestinian state will never be established. It's an existential threat to Israel and unrealistic, even with reforms. Now, that's not going to jive with Donald Trump's plan for Gaza, as it's been approved by the United Nations and the UN Security Council. So everybody in the United Nations has approved this Gaza plan, the Trump Gaza plan. And of course, Israel is going to be fighting against it, and that's just his way. And we'll see. Donald Trump trying to keep him out of jail, but you know what? That leverage might just disappear, Netanyahu, to get so that Trump gets his peace plan.
Yeah, and Rdoc, remember last week, he still needs to win this battle against Rome, aka United States being Rome, guys. If you didn't pick up what he was putting down.
Yes, that is 100%. Why don't you explain that? So, basically, going back to the Judea Captiva, when Vespasian and his son Titius, or we would call him Titus, conquered the Palestinian territory, Syria, Palestine, and I won't get into the whole Piso thing, but anyway, they took the religion away from Israel, and they created anti-Semitism at the same time, and so Rome really ruled and destroyed the state of Israel at that point in time, and it never really was able to be reconstituted. It was gone from that point on, really, as you look at it. But there are those in certain sects of Judaism, including this Eastern European Jewish factions. I'll say the word factions. Okay, that came to be really more powerful and nationalistic Zionism kind of formed in the 1840s in Central Europe, and the whole reform movement, and Herzl and all those guys came out, and Herzl eventually publishes his book, which is the basis for Zionism, in the late 1890s. Okay, and you can get into Lubavitch Hasidim and everything like that. They want to destroy Rome. We are Rome to them, and they want to do it by economic collapse, infiltration, not invasion type stuff. And that's the true way to bring down a country, is you collapse it economically. They can't do anything militarily. And that is a group of thinking within the Israeli state. I'll say it that way. Okay. Moving on to Venezuela. Okay. So to begin the Venezuela topic, this was an interesting quote. Somebody want to read this? This is Hermann Goering, Hitler's propagandist.
And I gotta take a 30-second to go help my son with his new braces. Naturally, the common people don't want war, neither in Russia, nor in England, nor in America, nor, for that matter, in Germany. That is understood. But the people can always be brought to the bidding of the leaders. That is easy. All you have to do is tell them that they're being attacked and denounce the pacifists for lack of patriotism and exposing the country to danger. It works the same in every country. From Hermann Goering during the Nuremberg trials.
And then here's another one.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist. Dwight D. Eisenhower.
That's right. That was right before he warned the new incoming president, John F. Kennedy, of the military-industrial complex. All right. So this little graphic here is kind of important to understand. Venezuela has maximum oil. We've talked about Machado, the CIA asset herself, that they want to try to put into power. We want to try to put into power in Venezuela and overthrow Maduro. And you can see why. Resources, resources, resources. So going back to Goering's comment, if you want the resources and you want to attack and you want to justify war, you have to, lie to the people and say they're being attacked, which is where the fentanyl argument comes in. So Cristoforo had a comment here about Maduro, but let's listen to Trump first here in his comments. Let me turn this up too. Sorry. Come on. My round circly thing.
Mr. President, on Venezuela update?
No update on Venezuela.
With the designation of that cartel associated with Maduro, does that mean that the U.S. government can target Maduro's assets or infrastructure inside Venezuela?
It allows us to do that, but we haven't said we're going to do that. And we may be having some discussions with Maduro, and we'll see how that turns out. They would like to talk.
Okay, so a couple things in this clip that are very, very important. She mentions a specific cartel that has been designated a foreign terrorist organization. I think it's called the Cartel of the Sun or Circle of the Sun. I've got the name in here somewhere. And then he also said something about talks, and that there are talks that they want to talk about. We've been talking with Maduro and his government, etc. And so, yeah, Trump is hinting at a diplomatic window with Maduro, but muses about hitting drug facilities in other countries like Colombia now. And so the situation here is getting to be very interesting. Basically, the entire concept of going to create a war which could suck us into a jungle type guerrilla warfare in Venezuela is not appealing to the majority of the American people. Can understand why. And So he is responding to this, and I think he is stopped listening to little Marco Rubio, who has been wanting nothing more than to overthrow the Venezuela Maduro government and also toppling Cuba. Okay, this is the two things that Marco Rubio wants more than anything in the world, even more than peace in Ukraine. And so Rick Grinnell he's named in this article here, and the fact that there are talks going on and Maduro has agreed to everything. But if we go back to September, okay, Maduro has been offering to engage in direct talks with Rick Grinnell, for quite some time because he had a positive relationship. Grinnell really helped to smooth things over initially with the Trump administration in the past, including showing that no, there was this some of this stuff about the illegal activities going on with the Maduro government, et cetera, were not true, and so on and so forth. And so after the first strike on the first vessel that killed 11 people, that Trump said were members of the Tren de Aragua gang and engaged in drug trafficking. Well, that's fine. The boat nowhere near the U.S. and is not a vessel capable of getting to the U.S. But anyway, we've been striking these vessels, and so Maduro has been trying to reach out to the government and saying, hey, we want to do whatever you want to do, etc. So it was never about drugs, and it's still not about drugs. And we've got a massive amount of military buildup in the region, which I thought I had a clip on the military buildup in the region. What did I do with that little clippy? Maybe I didn't. Oh, I must have lost it. Okay. Anyway, we have a massive amount of military buildup in the region. This Max Blumenthal had a deal on the Piers Morgan show in which he talks about how the cartel of the Suns, that's the name of this cartel, was literally created by the CIA, also known as the cocaine import agency. And so he goes into a deep discussion talking about how the CIA did this and how the United States justified this stuff in Venezuela, just like we did the weapons of mass destruction in Afghanistan, of Iraq, and yada, yada, yada. Okay. And I don't have time to play this clip. I would recommend you going out and listening to it or grab it. This is Under the Gray Zone. They usually have some really deep intelligence understanding of some things there. But I decided to grab this little meme to explain it a little bit better. Hi, I'm the CIA. You may remember me from such films as Who's the Guy Governing People on Top of Our Oil? And that's Iran. That goes way back. Snack Wars, Revenge of the Fruit Company, and I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know who that is. I'd have to go look at the image. Arming Afghans to fight Russia. What could go wrong? Osama bin Laden. Hey, where's all this cocaine coming from? Is this ADVA? Is this what this was? Was this the ADVA stuff for the Arkansas Development Fund? And the dictator still has the weapons that we gave him, of course, the weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. Moderate rebels, a confusing love story, our creation of ISIS. And I don't know, maybe that is Al-Sharar, Al-Jalani. I can't really tell off the top of my head. So, yeah, the CIA is behind all of this stuff. We create the problems, we react to the problems, and it makes domestic policy follow foreign policy. That's the way it works. Here's an awesome 60 minutes interview. We do not have time to play all 13 minutes, but Lofty Gazzaoni, I don't know if that's where he's from. Anyway, had this clip out there. It's definitely worth listening to. 1993 60 Minutes report, how the CIA recruited Venezuelan military officer General Ramon Guillen Davila to help them ship 22 tons of cocaine into American cities. Why would the government want to do that? Because it can create drug dependencies, create chemical dependencies that create welfare that, anyway, you get the idea. All right, and of course that deal. And then finally on Venezuela, Russia condemned the escalation around Venezuela and is standing shoulder to shoulder with Venezuela, according to this report in TASS that was released today. And according to the foreign minister Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov, he said that, the escalating tensions around Venezuela are bad, and Russia stands firmly. We condemn the escalation of tensions in the region and support Latin America remaining a peaceful area. Of course, because that's good for BRICS, that's good for the trade, that's good for Venezuela, Argentina, that's good for the entire region to create an economically strong and vibrant states in South America. Well, that's not good for America. We don't like it when there's competition, and so we seek to break it apart because division it makes everybody weaker, and so then we can maintain hegemonic control over the region by financially destabilizing a country or militarily destabilizing a country as the case is needed. That's the way our intelligence and State Department think and have thought for close to over 100 years. All right. So that's Venezuela. Any comments from anybody before I move on to get into the meat, which is Ukraine? Anybody still there? Everybody eating,
No.
using the restroom, smoking? All right. NATO. So let's talk about NATO. This is an interesting little tidbit. So related back to that Hermann Goring comment and some things, Trump wants Germany to take over NATO. Ambassador to NATO, Matthew Whitaker, former DOJ interim head, calls for a European general to take over the alliance's top military role and says it should be Germany. Okay, well, let's get into more of this. And so here's Stars and Stripes. U.S. Ambassador looks forward to having Germany as a top NATO commander someday. Like, it's the first time ever, right? Like, yeah, we're going to pass the torch to Germany. Okay, and so, yeah, he's like, the 32 country alliance told the members of the Berlin Security Conference that significant shakeup at NATO would take time, according to several news outlets, including British newspaper Telegraph. I look forward to the day when Germany comes to the United States and says that we are ready to take over Supreme Allied Commander position. I think we're a long way for that, but I look forward to those discussions. Okay, so just a reminder. Space Shot, are you back? You've seen this post before that I've had many times. Let's see, who is this?
Is that the Bush family photos?
Yeah, exactly. Adolf Holzinger, Nazi dictator Adolf Hitler's chief of staff, became chairman of the NATO Military Committee, 61 to 64. Hans Speidel, Nazi Field Marshal Erwin Rommel's chief of staff, became commander-in-chief of NATO forces in Central Europe, 57 to 63. Johannes Steinhoff, famous Nazi fighter pilot for the German Luftwaffe, became chairman of the NATO Military Committee, 71 to 70. What are you talking about that we haven't had German commanders, Nazi commanders, in charge of NATO? That's pretty much all they've been, including Jens Stoltenberg and Mark Rutte. Okay, they're all Nazis. They've always been Nazis because that's who we trusted to be loyal against the Russians. And of course, there's a couple of other little things about the infiltration of the Nazis into our country and our governments. All right, moving on. Poland false flag. This week there was a false flag attempt by Poland. Railway sabotage, and evidently they found 2 or 3 places where the railway was sabotaged, and there was wires across the track on one place, and so on and so forth. And so Sikorsky and Donald Tusk, European Union leader Donald Tusk and Sikorsky, the guy who said, "Hey, thank you by blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline for us," and of course these two guys both were applauding the decision by the judge in the Poland extradition case over the admitted member of the 7-member team that blew up and committed the terrorist acts on a NATO-owned pipeline, partially owned pipeline. Okay, and so Sikorsky was out there, Tusk was out there, talking about, well, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And yeah, they got to the bottom of this in like 2 days. In 2 days, they found out who did it and where they went to. But it's been a couple of years and they can't figure out Nord Stream. Oh, gee. And so, yeah, the railway blast. Let's listen in and we'll
Poland's eastern railways serve more than domestic needs. They're a lifeline for Ukraine too, a channel for trade, aid and military supplies, and now the apparent target of sabotage.
I heard a big explosion. It was really big, and huge explosion. There's no houses around this place.
Prime Minister Donald Tusk promised a thorough investigation.
Unfortunately, there is no doubt that we are dealing with an act of sabotage. Fortunately, though, it did not result in tragedy, but it's still a very serious matter.
He noted signs of a news conference pointed at possible state action.
The likelihood that this has been commissioned by foreign intelligence agencies is very high, and the prosecutor's office's decisions qualifying this incident also confirm this. These events demonstrate that the principles...
Because we call it sabotage, that means it is sabotage. And of course, they're going to lead towards it's Russia, Russia, Russia. And that's exactly what they did. And so here's the image that they released of the explosion. Now, guys, what do you see here in this picture, and what don't you see here in this picture? Of a massive explosion to rip apart
Cutting. It's
railway
amazing. They have the best explosive welding equipment in the history of engineering. How does it do it? It's like almost like the World Trade Towers, man. How does
And
it
look, the rock substrate, this wood, this is concrete. They don't build them with wood ties like we do in the United States. They're concrete. These are speed rails, actually these probably aren't speed rails, but you can see how close the ties are together. This is no explosion. If anything, this is like the you know how they weld and do the repairs on the railway tracks, and they have this thermobaric type of compound that just melts the steel instantly. That's what this looks to me. It looks like something, in order to get a fracture like that.
I don't see any melting though, because that stuff melts the railway together when they're going to repair two ends. They're going to melt it together. This is all fractured
because it's contained. It's contained, and so they may have used the same compound. But look, there's the rocks.
But look at all the sharp edges. It's like it's been fractured.
So you have to get it to a high temperature heat, because an explosion, and lots of railways have been hit in Ukraine with explosives, bombs, missiles, and it warps the track. It rips them up and it tears them, but they don't get fractures like this. This is high heat has been applied to this for a very long duration and then smashed, because there's no explosive crater here. There just isn't a crater, as if an explosive was placed under the track. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it was definitely sabotage, but it wasn't an explosion like we would think of as a big boom that this guy said he heard. Okay. So of course, literally the next day, Donald Tusk comes out as a result of the investigation. We know it was the Russian secret services that commissioned the blast of the Polish railway and recruited Ukrainians. so it's Ukrainians who did it. Wow. And not only that, but they know that the identities of the perpetrators, but they haven't told us. And they immediately fled to Poland, to Belarus. Sure they did. Okay. All right, so and Alex Christopher, of course, picks up on that, which is really good. 24-hour investigation. We know it was the Russian secret services. It was Ukrainians who did it. But anyway, these are the same guys, and they demand extradition. They want Belarus to extradite these two unnamed people publicly to Poland to stand trial. But yet they did not let this Ukrainian who is living in their country that is responsible for Nord Stream to go to Italy or Germany to be part of that investigation and stand trial over there. Yeah, sure. Hypocrisy. All right. Going back to the German probe links Nord Stream blast to Ukraine's former military chief, and it goes into the history there. And just as a reminder, Tusk says that, so that's the same thing. So the perpetrators were Ukrainians, but the Russians did it. Polish logic. that's pretty much any Polish joke meme. Now, I want to remind you that my initial thoughts were that it wasn't Ukrainians and it wasn't Russians at all. It was Polish, because a lot of Polish farmers are very upset with Ukraine and the European Union, forcing them to allow rail traffic from Ukraine carrying cheap and sometimes lower quality goods than the EU law requires. And if you remember way back when we covered some of these stories here, and I think this, February 20th, 2024, they were sabotaging rail cars, dumping the grain. And the Polish put military and law enforcement much more tightly over the border region and the railway lines especially. So this supposedly was done in a much more heightened area. Now the region that this rail track was damaged is not necessarily near the border. So that's another thing. There's some questions about why this section of track. But yeah, angry farmers pushed Poland away from Ukraine. They were upset with everything. They protesting. They're still out there protesting, but they closed down the ability to protest right on the border where they were stopping trucks and dumping grain and stuff. Now, why? What other things are going on between Poland and Ukraine that the President Narwaki has been talking about? Well, he's been talking a lot about the fact that Poland is still upset and wants Ukraine to capitulate, to make some apologies and other things like that officially about the Volyn massacre of 1943. And if you don't understand that, members of the Ukrainian insurgent army and the OUN and those guys were hailed as heroes for staying up to the Soviet Union, but they stormed villages throughout Poland, killing thousands and thousands of ethnic Poles and Jews. These are Nazi Banderites that worked on behalf of the Galician SS and others, some of those guys that were in Canada, those Ukrainians that got exfiltrated to Canada by Reinhard Gehlen and his work. Those guys were part of the people that helped kill these Poles. Okay, and so this article goes in that history, and then just some basic history here. As a means of gaining independence from Poland, because in 1939 this area was under control of Poland, not the Soviet Union. The OUN accepted material and moral support from Nazi Germany before World War II began. The Germans needing Ukrainian assistance against Soviet Union were expected by the OUN to further the goal of Ukrainian independence. Of course, when they got in there and they were found out that Hitler had no intention of letting them control Ukraine, then they rebelled and Bandera was sent to Munich and put in prison basically there until he was assassinated by the Russians, supposedly. All right, so Stepan Bandera and the Poles, not happy campers to each other. And so who really did the sabotage? My bets are that it was Polish saboteurs that were sympathetic to or antithetic to Ukrainian grain and other shipments using the railway line, not necessarily weapons going to Ukraine, but that may be part of it too. All right, Shoigu assassination. The rumors initially were that there was a plot to assassinate a high-level Russian defense person, and then the story leaked out that it might be Shoigu. And then this was released today, this video of what they actually do. The FSB actually did detain residents of the DPR that was preparing to assassination attempt on Shoigu. Kiev wanted to kill him with a mixture of British-made poisons, Sergei Skripal, anybody, mixed into gift bottles of beer from the United Kingdom. The poison mixture contained an analog of combat nerve agent VX that would have caused painful death within 20 minutes. So this was reported by Muscovy Cosmolant or something. I can't remember the name of the paper. And it was picked up by other papers. But yeah, Russia did announce that it foiled an assassination attempt against Shoigu. And TASS now has picked this up. So the official Russian news agency has now picked up on it that, yeah, it was Shoigu, and the FSB stopped it. So remember, I remind everybody of Victoria Nuland's comments when she resigned and left the State Department back, was it February 24? And she made that little statement out there in the cold of Kiev in her last visit and said, we've got some prizes for Putin, and talked about asymmetrical warfare in her speech the day before. And that's terrorism. That's Ukrainians' mantra. That is the way that Ukraine behaved before the Soviet Union, after and since the Soviet Union times, and it was a combination of anti-monarchistic anti-monarchist Jewish communists, believe it or not, and Nazi Banderites with Nazi financial support and support from the UK and others. Anyway, moving on. All right, Ukraine was going to get 100. They get 100 Rafale fighters from France, according to Zelensky's little visit over there with Macron. So they're going to get 100 fighters from France. Well, just the other day, they're going to get 150 fighters from Sweden. Now, none of these are going to be coming in the next 10 years. They're going to be dribs and drabs over that time. There's no money to spend it. So what is really going on? Well, what's going on is that they're trying to steal money. And so what are they trying to do? Well, they're trying to get their dibs on contracts, MIC contracts. There's no pilots to fly these. If they got 250 aircraft, they would be the largest air force in the world besides the United States and maybe Russia and China. They'd be like number 4. Okay, ain't gonna happen. They would never gonna get these planes, and are never gonna go there, and they're never gonna have the money to pay for it. So what's going on? They're stealing the money, and they're trying to do the money grab because they know the time is over. And related to those Russian assets that are trying to also steal and grab, Euroclear has now come out and said, we're going to sue you. So not only is Belgium, as we reported, opposing von der Leyen's little plan to create these slush funds, but Euroclear has now said, you're not going to destroy our business. You're not going to destroy European financial markets. We are going to fight you. We're going to sue you. We're going to tie you up in court if you even think about touching those with money. So it's pretty much a dead deal. So now it's time to get into scandal. So we've talked about the scandal, and of course we know this guy was part of the scandal operations there. But the European Union, after the scandal broke, and members of the world community, how did they respond to news of the scandal? Well, they responded like Mark Rutte did here.
On the mobilized assets, obviously that's something for European allies, particularly those now part of European Council, to discuss. I should not comment too much on that. For me, the absolute priority is to make sure that Ukraine has what it needs to stay in the fight and to be prepared as strong.
Basically, we don't care about the scandal. We're going to still send money and weapons to Ukraine because we need to keep this war going. Okay. Who cares about the scandal? Who cares about a $100 million scandal? Let's send $100 million more of weapons. All right. And Alexander Stubb also got in the action, Trump's golfing buddy.
We've come to Finland to interview President Alexander Stubb. Here watching Finnish volunteers learn how to defend their country. Finland's got a 1,300-kilometre long border with Russia and joined NATO in 2023. It's got one of the biggest militaries in Europe per head and a network of shelters across the country which can fit almost 90% of the population in a crisis. Finland.
Now, one thing she doesn't say is that Finland and Russia had a non-aggression treaty, a non-aggression pact for years in which they respected each other's borders, and there's a lot of Russians in Finland and a lot of Finns in Russia. They were frequently crossing back and forth in the region as part of, they need the commerce each other. So since they shut the borders down, that's shut down. Now she goes on to interview Stubb, and of course his comments are that we really don't care about a little scandal. We're just going to go ahead and keep supporting Ukraine, and we just can't stop sending the money. We got to send them more money and more weapons, blah, blah, blah. All right. So he urges Europe to back Zelensky as Ukraine faces this corruption scandal. Zelensky, related to the corruption scandal, so Yermak, Zelensky's chief of staff, and the guy going all the way back to Rudy Giuliani days, we warned about Yermak. Yermak is his muscle. He's the guy that is the go-between between the Nazi Banderites, between the parliament, the Rada, and any other oligarchs and whatever. He exercises political muscle. He's like a godfather. Okay, you piss off him. So it turns out that according to the tapes that NABU had acquired in its investigation, they've identified that Ali Baba is indeed Andrei Yermak. That's his nickname. They call him his middle name is like Borosovich or something, and they call him Ali Baba, like a Baba Yaga, but Ali Baba. and so he is on the Mindich tapes, and so he has been is in trouble, and yada yada yada. So Umarov also has been implicated. This is Defense Minister Umarov, former defense minister. He's now head of the National Security and Defense Council, so he's still in charge of the contracting, and so he was out of the country the last 6 or 7 days, and he went initially to Turkey, supposedly to arrange the POW transfer, and then he went to UAE, and then he went to Qatar, and then there was speculation he went to the USA, and that he was not going to be returning. Well, he showed up in Turkey the other day, and he met with Zelensky, and we'll talk about that in just 1 second. But he's also been implicated in this corruption scandal as well. So then let's shift over to the Rada, because the Rada, they've been talking about, hey, we need all these people, these ministers in your office, Zelensky, to come forward and testify. We don't care if you've dismissed them or not. We need them to come. Well, some of them fled the country. They're gone. They're history, including I think I can't remember her name. We'll get to her in just a second here. But in the all the hassle and hubbub and everything like that, Zelensky said, "I'm not going to fire Yermak." The United States wants him to fire Yermak as part of this little dealie that started up, with this conversation that started up where Witkoff and others were trying to go talk with Zelensky. The news got to him first that the U.S. wants Yermak gone. He's stolen and arranged to steal millions and millions of dollars of U.S. taxpayer money and weapons, and to benefit him and the other cronies within the Ukrainian government. And it's now the NABU, our NABU that we control, really has confirmed it. And so we've used this as leverage, this timing, at the perfect time that the sanctions bill for Graham is coming up, and we'll cover that in just a second. But the president said he's not going to fire Yermak. And so this started a whole, because if he does that, he's gone. He's history. He's not going to be able to survive politically without Andrei Yermak. And so that started a row. And so in the Verkhovna Rada, they dismissed the Minister of Justice of Ukraine, Herman Haloshenko, the head of the Ministry of Energy of Ukraine, Svetlana Krinchuk. Now, she's the one that replaced the other guy who's the Minister of Energy, who fled to Europe. Mindich went to Israel. The other Minister of Energy fled. He went to Europe. Well, she also snuck across the border the other day. So she's Audi 5000. She was sleeping with the other guy, supposedly, is the story. And so she's probably got assets in her name and yada, yada. The Rada today, this is huge news, and it affects the peace plan. The Rada has suspended its work. Stefanchuk, who is slated to become the interim president, if Zelensky is resigned or forced to resign or removed, announced a recess and all consultations due to the NABU investigations and the resignation of the two ministers. They don't know who is in charge of the government to come in and testify and to give the Congress answers. Okay, quote, "I'm now announcing a recess of our plenary session. I would like to inform you that in accordance with the decision of the Conciliation Council, we are now moving to consultations on the current situation," which means they're going to talk to themselves and figure out how to get a continuation of government that sustains Ukraine, that keeps Ukraine moving forward. Okay, therefore, we will provide additional information about the next session. Earlier, part of the Servant of the People Party called for formation of a new coalition and government. The resignation of even a few deputies from Zelensky's party faction would lead to the end of the mono majority in the Rada. Now, this statement by this woman would have landed her in jail, and the SBU would have come around her house and collected her up, and she would have had to flee the country or go to jail. Okay, Ukrainian deputy Anna Skorokhod predicted further events in Ukraine. Next, we will have a new temporary government. Let's get into this. According to her, Yermak's dismissal is not even a question for Parliament, but a question for Zelensky's survival. Next, we will see the conditions of the peaceful negotiation process. So this is after Zelensky is removed, after his office of the president is completely dismissed and a new coalition government formed, and a new interim president formed and a new elections held, we will have an interim government, whatever you want to call it, anti-crisis, anti-corruption, but it will be a government for several months. It's required by Constitution to have the election in 60 days, by the way. But it will be a government for several months that will prepare the country for elections, conduct the negotiation process with the Russians, the United States, sign the amicable agreement. Why is that important? Because the Russians has been saying it for a long time. Zelensky cannot sign anything that the Russians will trust because he's not legitimate, and all they have to do is say, well, he wasn't the legitimate president, so therefore the agreement is null and void. So he can never be a signer. He's irrelevant to the signatory negotiation process. And they've been saying this for some time, and I think finally the Trump administration has realized it. So here's another post in Ukrainian. I'm not going to translate it, but basically it's summarized here that the revolt has effectively broken out in Zelensky's faction. The ministers of parliament expressed support for the investigation into corruption in Zelensky's circle and backed the opposition's demand for new coalition and a new government in the Rada. Statement demands a dismissal of all officials involved in Mindic's case. Now, Zelensky, they're saying that Zelensky, this is tied to him, and therefore the NABU may be able to pick him up at any time and arrest him and charge him with crimes along with Yermak. Okay, and so this is the threat, and why Zelensky was on his European tour this past week. He didn't want to be in the country even when all this crap is going on. Putin had a comment, and he basically, said, the Kiev gang with their golden toilets don't think about the future of the country, about ordinary Ukrainians, their officers, never mind their servicemen. He's got to throw in a bone there and stick it in and make it hurt. All right. So what did happen the other day? Well, Zelensky did go to Turkey to meet with Witkoff. Well, he went to go meet with Erdogan, and we'll talk about Witkoff in 1 second. But he arrived in Turkey, met by Umarov. So Umarov pops up, boop, and Yermak is there too. Okay, and this is very, very important. So why did Yermak go on this one? So Yermak also tried to go to London to go meet with Zelensky. So what's going on? Well, Andrei Yermak is going to sit there and want to question Umarov. What the hell did you tell the Americans? What the hell did you do? Because that's exactly what happened. Defense Minister Umarov has been negotiating with the Americans, and they probably confronted him with some information, and then he basically fessed up. And so they want to know, what did you say and who did you tell? Okay, and the same thing with Zelensky. What's your role in this? I want to go talk to you. Well, Zelensky said, I ain't meeting with you. I'm protected by the British. And so Zelensky and his government are done, is the point of all this. And this is now becoming more and more clear, and Medvedev said this, and I said it as well. This is the U.S. This is Trump. This is our government taking out an uncooperative MFer who screwed Trump over in 2019 with an impeachment scandal and worked with the Biden administration to get him impeached. Okay, and this is payback, baby. So now, let's talk about Mike Pompeo.
That guy.
He joined the advisory board of this company called Firepoint. Now, why is Firepoint important? Well, Firepoint is this company. They make the Flamingo missiles. They make drones. They've made millions and millions of dollars off of defense spending, and maybe haven't produced any weapons really to show for it. Typical Ukrainian defense industry corruption that was under Poroshenko. Same thing was continued under Zelensky. And so, yeah, the corruption investigation is tying. This is Mindich. Mindich is Firepoint. Firepoint was originally the company that handled the talent agency for media personalities like Zelensky, and that's how he got to meet Zelensky. Zelensky was a media talent, and Mindich and him had a relationship before Kolomoisky and Zelensky, and he did his stuff on 1+1 channel for Kolomoisky. So, yeah, Mindich is behind all this, and who do they want to call to get some support? Mike Pompeo. Pompeo's been also involved in Ukraine Telestar or something, one of the the communications companies there. So Pompeo's all involved in this corruption. Now, who does the scandal touch outside of Ukrainian politics? And we'll talk about Kellogg now, I guess.
Joe Biden.
Well, maybe, but it's going to touch more current people in the Trump administration, as well as Mike Pompeo, probably. But Keith Kellogg announced he's resigning. Well, he didn't just announce he's resigning. He announced he's resigning coinciding with the timing of the release of the peace plan to the media. Okay. And then that ties into the fact that, and I don't have time to play this video, he literally quits right after the leaked U.S. peace plan. Okay. Well, the peace plan, of course, doesn't go his way. It's not what he's been advising Trump. This is the guy that's been telling Trump, Ukraine's winning, Russia's getting, millions of deaths. It's all bullshit. This guy's been lying to him, feeding him Ukrainian propaganda. I think Trump's known this, but Trump has been also going along with it, maybe illusions, trying to create misinformation. But yeah, Keith Kellogg, well, that starts with a K. K for Keith, K for Kellogg. Now, Sky News tries to say this is Kirill Dmitriev, okay, that Steve Witkoff is referring to in his text message. But what it is Steve Witkoff pissed off, Russians pissed off, U.S. Trump, Rubio pissed off that the details of this plan were released before they had a chance to present it to Zelensky. And who is the guy that released it? Keith Kellogg. Went to the media, went to Axios, and dumped it.
Got a
Now,
question.
go ahead.
I want to sidebar you, but this is kind of poignant. Is this or is this not the same guy that wrote the book that was bashing General Flynn? Right?
I don't know
He had the
about-
chapter in it, Out Like Flynn. Yep.
It could be. Yeah.
That people were basically trying to say, oh, see, that means he's a bad guy. Da, da, da. I'm just giving data points. That's all.
This guy is likely tied in with receiving proceeds from some of these corruption scams, and the United States knows about it. The NABU captured him getting this stuff and has information about this, and the United States politely went to him and said, "You're done." And Donald Trump realized, I got to go with Witkoff on this. Sorry, guys. Sorry, Graham. Sorry. Matter of fact, let's just jump into that because maybe it's time to get in there. So basically, Mike Pompeo and him and maybe some others are implicated in this scandal. So we're going to skip the frontline stuff. Well, actually, no, we won't skip it. Frontline stuff's bad. Ternopil, boom. Big weapons factory. They were making rocket motors and stuff like that. So they got whacked. In Pokrovsk, it's bad. Look at this map. They're bombing the hell out of this. They're taking territory. Pokrovsk is completely taken. They're already moving up into the next town. They're moving across. Ukrainian counterattacks have failed. They've lost 180 people in one counterattack. Absolutely insane. Here's videos of Pokrovsk. Russians are just walking around. No problem. They aren't afraid of drones or nothing because they got total control of the city. There's pockets of resistance, people hiding in cellars and stuff. And here's an example of some of them. Oops, let me turn the media off of that. So here's an example of some of these guys just popping up out of the basement wearing civilian clothes, but they're soldiers and they got arrested and captured. So Pokrovsk is done. Here's Kupiansk. Kupiansk officially announced today that the territory of Kupiansk is completely liberated. They're working on the next town to the south. I can't remember. It's a word that sounds like Kupiansk or something. And Ukrainian counterattacks have failed.
What do you mean by
The Russians call it liberating their former historical Russian territory, and Ukrainians call it occupied. So.
Okay, so do you think that's what they're gonna? The Russians eventually? It seems to me like they're trying to just do that, get their original land back or whatever.
Well, Trump's leverage on the original peace plan proposal that he offered through Witkoff to Putin in August, that Putin said, okay, that sounds good. Let's go talk about it in Alaska. And they went to Alaska, and then Trump waffled and didn't commit to it. He said, I got to go talk to the Europeans and Zelensky. And then he never came back. Well, now he's come back after going through the whole sanctions, sanctioning Lukoil, sanctioning India, sanctioning China, and giving Ukraine, threatening to give Ukraine tomahawks and then pulling the tomahawks back and yada, yada. All that stuff was going on. And now he's back to Istanbul plus, which is what basically Witkoff and Putin agreed to and was dialoguing about in Alaska, that Lavrov have come out and said this is exactly what we talked about and that we're waiting on the U.S. to get back to us. Well, the U.S. has been secretly talking to them all along. We'll talk about that in 1 second.
That's what I mean.
So,
all the while that stuff was happening, as you've been noting, they've been just basically surrounding the place and just keep taking ground. So yeah, I like it.
Well, Putin didn't wait. He got pissed off at Trump. And he's like, okay, the one of the only deals was, okay, Trump said, Ukraine give away the 25% that Russia doesn't occupy of Donetsk. That's what Putin wanted. And Ukraine troops to leave. They wanted Donetsk back, and we freeze the contact lines in Zaporozhye and Kherson. Well, that's what Zelensky said no. And so the Russians are taking it anyway, and they're taking more. They're taking more of Zaporozhye, Dnipro. They're taking more of Kharkiv. They're taking more. And so that's what these frontline little things are all about. They are in the city center of Siversk now for the first time ever. Siversk is going to fall within the weekend. Okay, they're in Konstantinovka in the city center, Putin said today. So, or the city outskirts. So it's bad for Ukraine. So the timeline of all this stuff running through, remembering Trump sanctions, tomahawks, that whole thing. He walked away from Alaska. And then you have Kirill Budanov saying, hey, it'll be February by the time we bring up peace talks again, et cetera. It's going to be a difficult winter. It's going to be very cold. And Zelensky says after the scandal, oh, we're going to start peace talks again, so I'm going to appease my Verkhovna Rada. We're going to have peace talks. I'm going to go to Turkey even and meet with Stephen Witkoff and Erdogan. Well, then all of a sudden, oops, the meeting's called off. Zelensky gets there, talks to Erdogan. The plan is leaked by Kellogg. He gets whiff of the plan and the fact that the U.S. is going to come and demand that he sign this and they concede the territory and that Yermak's going to be arrested or removed from power, not arrested, but removed. And then and he realized he's done if he agrees to that. And so he said, no, I'm not meeting. I'm not going to do this. So screw this. I'm not going to agree to this. And so Witkoff's canceled the meeting. He's like, I'm not going. Okay. And so Zelensky had this little meeting with Yermak and Umarov, and then he went back to Ukraine. And now Umarov may have not gone with him. Umarov may have told Zelensky, I'm never returning to Ukraine again. And so then we get the release by Axios of the full 28-point Ukraine peace plan. That's the first thing that happens. And then ABC makes a notice that Donald Trump has approved this peace plan.
President Trump this week approved a 28-point plan for peace between Russia and Ukraine. An administration official has told NBC News.
Senior administration official being Keith Kellogg. All right. So then we have that Zelensky goes back to Ukraine. They're like, I'm not even going to consider this proposal. I refuse to talk to Witkoff. And he met with Erdogan and so on and so forth. And then he goes back to Ukraine. Ukraine stories start running out of Ukrainian media that Ukraine rejects the capitulation-style plan proposed by the U.S. Financial Times runs with articles. And so we start moving into the speculation of what's contained in the plan, and then the plan gets released and so on and so forth. And then we get news that a top military delegation from the U.S. was actually in Kiev and going to be meeting with Zelensky to present the plan to not only him but the military, because it doesn't matter if Zelensky agrees to this. He's irrelevant. It matters what the military will do, because some of these military fighters, like Dmitry Yarosh, even though he's not in charge of anything anymore, he still controls politically a lot of these military units. These guys will fight to the death. And so they've got to figure out a way to get these Banderites under control and out of power and without weapons. That's going to be a difficult process. And so the military was going to Kiev. They met with Zelensky today. They had the meeting, and if they show up on Moscow next, then it's a big thing, because that means that this is real and this is really going to happen. All right. So Zelensky did come out and says, yeah, I met with Assistant Secretary of the Army, Daniel Driscoll, and we discussed ways to achieve genuine peace. So Driscoll delivered the real story to Zelensky. This is how it's going on the battlefield. You're losing. You're losing bad. Donald Trump's not going to take an L on this, buddy. This is over. We're going to work this out. We're going to get to a peace plan, and it doesn't matter what you got to do. Donald Trump's going to show this as a win in the column for peace. So number 9 or number 10 or whatever. So he had a meeting with Driscoll, and then Ukraine says officially that they will work with Donald Trump and on this peace plan. Yeah, the 28 peace plan was negotiated by Trump. The proposal drafted by Ukraine and Europe would be reportedly require Kiev to give up parts of Ukraine, et cetera, et cetera. Zelensky's administration faces major corruption scandal involving nuclear agency, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Now, White House is preparing to unveil the secret peace plan, according to Clash Report, but without Ukraine or Europe at the table, and Europe's not happy about that. White House is confident the plan to present Ukraine as a fait accompli under Zelensky under pressure will have little choice. Europe says we really don't care. Okay. Peace deal as soon as this week. U.S. expects Zelensky to sign the peace agreement by November 27th, Thanksgiving. After that, a deal will be presented to Russia, with the process expected to finish by early December, according to the Financial Times. So we covered Kellogg. So what is what is the actual plan details? And we're running out of time here, so we're going to roll. We're going to get this. Ukraine's sovereignty is affirmed, but it must stay out of NATO permanently. Cap its army. It's not 600,000. It's about 400,000. Except Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk Oblast is de facto Russian territory. That's the United States. Will do that in other countries. And Kherson and Zaporozhye will be frozen along current lines. In exchange, Ukraine and Russia, by the way, get U.S. security guarantees, which can be a problem because that could suck us into combat. A path to EU membership, but definitely no NATO. NATO literally has to adopt into its policy that Ukraine will never be in NATO, and Ukraine must adopt into its constitution they will never try to be in NATO. A huge reconstruction program funded by Western money, plus the $100 billion in frozen Russian assets. U.S. gets like a 50% profit threshold. Russia gets phased sanction relief, economic deals with the U.S., and a path back to the G8. Zaporozhye nuclear power plant restarts with a 50-50 power split. Humanitarian measures include all-for-all prisoners exchange and return of kidnapped children. All sides receive full wartime amnesty. That includes Zelensky corruption scandal people. A Trump-led peace council will oversee enforcement, and a ceasefire begins once both sides withdraw to agreed positions. Okay, so let's go into some more details. Territories, discuss that. Russia, yeah, okay, discuss that. Ukraine gets $200 billion, including $100 billion Russian frozen assets. Implementation controlled by the Peace Council. I already talked about that. Okay, moving on. Some of these things are going to be redundant. Okay, so evidently, once the Ukrainian Rdoc got hold of this, they released a copy of this. Somebody in Ukraine released a copy of it, and this is their points all in Ukrainian. We've got some English translations coming up here. Trump peace plan is confirmed by New York Post. Reports that Umarov was the one negotiating and agreed to most of the plan, made several modifications to it, which U.S. included, and presented it to Zelensky. Kiev proposed to include full amnesty for all parties for their actions during the war, i.e. Zelensky and Criminal Co. Okay, and I don't know if we can see all this stuff, but yeah, all these 28 points here. Family reunification program, the language, the official, Russia being recognized as official state language of Ukraine. Huge. Ukraine recognizing the Russian Orthodox Church, Ukrainian Orthodox Church as a official religion. That that is what the Nazi Banderites do not want. It's basically everything in this peace plan undoes everything that the United States and working with the Banderites in the 2014 Maidan coup, it undoes all of that. And basically Russia gets a government that I think some members of the Ukrainian parliament want to create that is more favorable to it and does away with these Banderites. They all know these Banderites are there. They've been running roughshod over them. And there is also a proposal in here that forces the educational programs to undo this Nazification crap. Okay, absolutely amazing that some of the stuff they put in here. Some things, yeah, the same stuff. Let me minimize some of this stuff so I can see what's going on. All right, senior unit official confirmed details, same thing. Trump's 28th plan, political earthquake. So this is the other thing. The Congress was not consulted on any of this discussion. Who is negotiating this? So Kirill Dmitriev and Steve Witkoff were the principal people. They get along together. They talk well to each other. They both talk from a perspective of economic cooperation over military headbutting. Who else worked on this? J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio, and Jared Kushner. Very, very important. Trump's secret plan for Russia and Ukraine has one enormous flaw. And there are some serious flaws that I can't remember what this argument said was the serious flaw, but there's plenty of other responses that are doing this. Telegraph is now claiming this new secret deal being worked out it means the Donbass will be leased. So Moscow, it actually proposes that Russia will occupy these countries. They will be recognized as de facto, not de jure, parts of the Russian Federation, and that they will be paying rent to occupy it back to Ukraine. And whether Russia will go along with this, I don't think so. It also says that Russia will not be able to have their troops in the Donbass. Russia's not going along with that as well. It's part of the Russian territory. It's part of their constitution, and they're the winners of this stuff. They're going to get that. So that was an interesting point. Trump administration de facto control of the region, but keep ownership. Okay, yeah. And yeah, this little tidbit here. After the war, Ukraine can't afford a big army anyway. So the size of the Ukrainian military will have to be reduced by 2.5 times its current force. Its current force was 800,000 at the beginning of January, or beginning of this year. It's now somewhere around 600,000, maybe 400,000. And so you're talking about a force that may only be like 250,000 or lower even. So it's going to be interesting to see that. Of course, they won't have an economy to be able to afford to house and deploy a military of 600, 800,000 that's currently estimated to be running at $70 billion a year. Absolutely amazing. All right, so what did Zelensky have to say about this in response? I look forward to meeting, but yeah, he's not really saying anything. He told Dan Driscoll that Ukraine is willing to negotiate, but he's going to be working behind the scenes with the Europeans. He already is to try to sabotage this stuff. And Bloomberg, citing a source familiar with it, says Zelensky received signals from the U.S. He must accept the agreement reached in consultation with Moscow. Basically, he's irrelevant to the decision. He's going to either be forced to accept it, or he's going to be removed from the presidency. Financial Times, sign a new peace proposal within a week. So basically by Thanksgiving, by next week. Russia's response. Putin has no meeting scheduled with U.S. Secretary Driscoll. They were reporting it, they were saying it, but he hasn't everything in the schedule. Russia, according to Maria Zakharova, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they've not received any plan. They don't know anything about this agreement. It's all media speculation in her mind, blah, blah, blah. And then Putin finally today, I think, realizes there is a real plan, there is an effort. Of course, he knows Kirill Dmitriev has been working with Witkoff, and his people have been talking with us. And so he said, quote unquote, though, not everyone's happy with the resumption of America-Russian contacts. Part of Western elites are still determined to maintain instability in the world, and these forces will try to disrupt or compromise the dialogue that has begun. So we'll see how far the dialogue goes. Who's the disruptors? Well, the European Union. Here's Kaya Kallas.
Also, we have to understand that in this war, there is one aggressor and one victim. So we haven't heard of any concessions on the Russian side.
Why would they give concessions?
If Russia really wanted peace, it could have, agreed to unconditional ceasefire already.
Why would Russia agree to unconditional ceasefire? It's the same old crap out of her. This is her talking points, is what she's programmed to go out and speak because she's an empty, vacuous shell. Okay, so European Union opposes it. French president, listen to this idiot. Actually, it's in French. He literally told this to everybody today. Europe must be prepared, France must be prepared to lose their children, our children, to go fight Russia. So basically, we're going to go to war. We're going to go to war with Russia because the Americans are abandoning us, and we're going to have to go fight Russia because we can't live with this, because they're corrupt. They want to keep the conflict going. And so we're going to kill our children to go keep this war going. Absolutely insane.
Hey, how much longer you got left?
We're literally at the last 5 or 6 comments. Let's see. This is the she just goes into detail here about the fact that the Europeans just want to continue the war, trying to disrupt the plan, pretty much standard. Hungary basically says Brussels is insane. They want to just keep spending the money, hundreds of billions of euros to Kiev, and we're not with it. So they've been the sane voice of reason. German foreign minister, we're going to give more, 3 billion. We're going to bring our total support to 12 billion. They don't even have 3 billion for themselves. So that's insane. Merz from Germany also went there, and he was talking about Brazil. There was a fire down in Brazil. He attended COP30, the environmentalist 30 plan, and he made some really disparaging remarks about Brazil. And I think the governor of Rio de Janeiro and some other folks in Brazil really upset with his comments, basically saying it was nasty, dirty, and we were so happy to come back to Germany, and nobody wanted to be there. Blah, blah, blah.
They were unhappy with the hotel arrangements over there, so they had to get 2 cruise liners that hold 10,000 apiece to put all these people in. And then the COP facility, actually part of it burned down. It was on fire or something.
The Croatian office there, yeah. And then, so when Merz was going to give his little speech there, half the room walked out as soon as he started speaking. They just do not support Merz. NATO, and this is where we're going to get into some interesting things here. So NATO, let's see, hold on, minimize.
I thought we were wrapping up.
Yeah, we are. So. What's his name? This is Seven War Wonder, Wesley Clark, the guy that said we got to have 7 wars for Israel. That guy, he's saying Ukrainians can't trust the USA. You know, Donald Trump's bad. Donald Trump's bad. We got to keep supporting Ukraine. JD Vance gets out there and says some wonderful things. Stop killing each other. Just start trading with each other. Have cultural exchange, et cetera, et cetera. Marco Rubio says, hey, this is a complex and deadly war. It requires extensive exchange of serious and realistic ideas. We've been talking about this for a month, working with these guys. We're continuing to develop a list of potential ideas. And, of course, everybody's attacking him in the chat. But then here comes the big stuff. Newt Gingrich. We got to keep going on with Ukraine. Mr. Went after Clinton and the whole 9 yards himself. Newt Gingrich is bought and paid for, pro-Ukrainian MIC guy. All right, Mike Pompeo here comes along and says we got to keep fighting. Donald Trump's bad to reverse the progress that you've made, Donald Trump. Restoring the deterrence. It was the same policy. We just stopped selling the weapons directly to Ukraine. We were selling them to Europe, and then they were giving them to Ukraine. Standing with Ukraine is in America's deep strategic interest. Well, that's the deep state, Mr. Deep State himself, and we know how he's tied in now. And, of course, Trump and Graham were playing golf the other day, and Graham was selling him on the sanctions, and Graham's all expecting to go forward with his big sanctions bill, and Trump kiboshed it again. Which is awesome. The timing coincidence is amazing. Trump would back Russia sanctions bill if he retains final authority, White House official says, and this was a point of contention. Graham and the Democrats didn't want to give Trump authority to make the decision, a yes or no, and Trump demanded it. And then it's a moot point now anyway. So Congress is blindsided by this 28-point plan that was going on in secret, and even Zelensky didn't know about it. And he says, as to the existence, I have no knowledge. He was out golfing the other day. Trump effed him in the ass, man. It was awesome. Absolutely awesome. So Senator Lindsey Graham, yeah, the same thing. And yeah, White House and Ukraine. So this is the last two things I want to play. These two clips. Oops, let's turn the volume up on her so we can hear her and start her talking again.
Quite a bit of reporting on the latest with Russia, Ukraine. So let me clarify and give you guys the truth on where it currently stands. President Trump has made it very clear since day one, and even on the campaign trail, that he wants to see this war come to an end. He has grown increasingly frustrated with both sides of this war, Russia and Ukraine alike, for their refusal to commit to a peace agreement. But nevertheless, the president and his national security team are steadfast in seeing this war come to an end, to end the killing and deliver on the president's promise. Special Envoy Witkoff, Marco Rubio, have been working on a plan quietly for about the last month. They've been engaging with both sides, Russia and Ukraine, equally to understand what these countries would commit to in order to see a lasting and durable peace. That's how you get to a peace negotiation, right? That's how it worked with Israel, with respect to Israel and Gaza and all of the Arab countries in the Middle East. That's how we accomplished that historic agreement, which the UN, by the way, voted to commit to and accept this week, which was a huge monumental moment. So they have been engaged with both sides, and these talks are continuing. As always, I'm not going to litigate the details of this plan as it's ongoing and it's in flux, but the president supports this plan. It's a good plan for both Russia and Ukraine, and we believe that it should be acceptable to both sides, and we're working very hard to get it done.
Okay, the very last clip of the night is this one. I think I got to turn the volume up on this page too.
Sure. Go ahead.
On Ukraine, you said this is a good plan. So according to our sources, this proposal demands major concessions from Ukraine and doesn't demand much from Russia. So was Russia involved in drafting
Your
it?
understanding is wrong. Have you read the full plan? You haven't.
Sources said.
Yes.
So if you can give details,
You've read reporting from one side of the war, and so I want you to understand that the administration
It's the
has
Zelensky
talked
side.
equally with both sides. You have seen President Trump engage directly with both President Putin and President Zelensky. Likewise, his national security team has as well. In fact, Special Envoy Witkoff and Secretary Rubio met with some of the Ukrainians just in the past week to discuss this very plan. And so just like you saw with respect to Israel and Gaza, we are hearing out both sides of this war to understand what can you commit to end the war. And that's ultimately how we are going to get to an agreeable solution. That's what the president has directed of his team. I know there's a lot.
Time is running out. Trump needs to get this peace plan underway and under wraps and turn an L into a W, because he needs to focus on the economy. And that wraps it up for International Today. Amazing times, amazing times.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Rdoc here. We're going to do a quick exit out here. Make sure you leave a comment in the bottom of the video and smash the thumbs up button. Tron, what's for dinner, sir?
Thank you guys so much for an awesome show again. We'll see you tomorrow night for Friday Funnies. We'll see you for Saturday night, Keeping It Wheel show, Spinning the Music Wheel, and Sunday morning, Great Awakening Morning Show. Shout out Tron Tribe, Dawn Star Rose, Carrie, Cameron, Gigi, and Becca G. Thank you, Swickley, for the 5 gifted subs. Thank you for this thumbs up. And extremely tired, guys. And red pill fatigue is real. Keep charging, keep shining your light, and keep winning. Much love, Tribe. We'll see you tomorrow night. We'll see you Saturday. We'll see you Sunday. Thank you, Hulk, Space Shot, and Doc for another great show. And always keep pushing, Patriots. Have faith, be encouraged. Dig, meme, and pray. Where we go one, we go all. Let's go, baby. We're in it for the long run, and we're not looking back. Pedal to the metal, baby. Let's go. Thank you.
Thank you, Tron. Mr. Rdoc.
Final thoughts, L's into W's. It's an amazing week, amazing time. Timing is no coincidence whatsoever, Space Shot, right? And as we look to the next week, Thanksgiving, wouldn't it be awesome if we actually have an agreement that's being taken to the Russians that has a chance of being agreed to, and something we can really give thanks to? In that case, It's amazing win for Donald Trump, bigger than anything, any kind of Nobel Peace Prize. Screw the Nobel Peace Prize. So hopefully, I don't know. Are we doing a show next week, Hulk? For Thursday?
Probably not.
Okay. We going to do like the Friday or Saturday or anything like that?
I don't know what I got going on here with the family stuff, so.
I'll pop
Well, stay tuned to announcements for that. But other than that, yeah. Yeah, the coma. We do actually have turkey over here, but not a full turkey. I haven't found one. I don't know what we're gonna do. Anyway, my last final thought is: if we don't get a chance to talk to you, everybody have a very happy Thanksgiving and spend time with the family and enjoy that time, because that's what makes everything in life worth living, is spending time with those you care about. And if you don't have somebody that you care about, go find somebody. Go to a sporting event. Go to a movie. Go to a club. Go to a bar. Anyway, that's my.
All right, Mr. Space Shot.
Yes, sir. So thank you, everybody, for hanging out tonight with us. I dropped 50 diamonds. They're cubic zirconias, actually, guys. I don't want to lie to you. But thank you to Liz G, Big Hair Tsunami, and Saint Cosmic Dildo for the top 3 contributors over there. Luckiest followers, Susie Q, Liz G, and Debbie Roush. Appreciate you guys over there. We even had a few hundred on the tubes. We had a 400-ish on the YouTubes earlier, and it's pretty sad showing. Like I said, guys, it's dead over there. It's completely dead. No matter what your following count is, millions, you still get crap for views. But so many crazy things happening, ladies and gentlemen, out there. So it's actually getting wild, and I'm loving it. So I 100% will be live tomorrow at 1 p.m. if you guys are not doing anything, and then come visit your boy. I think I, of course, always want to say thank you to the mods, because they absolutely rule, helping myself, these guys, and a few others out there. Very selfless help, and we do appreciate that. Always a big hat tip to Country and the folks over there at Liberty Based News. Go give them a follow. Check them out for 24/7 news. And I think that's good for me for now, Mr. Hulkinator.
Yep, and I just want to say a big thank you out there on the Pilled side over there for Woke and Walked, who's left a bunch of messages. It seems like Tina Peters has been sent over to isolation because she spoke out against somebody at the jail. The warden basically says she's never getting out and put her in solitary confinement. Her health is not doing that good. It just happened a little bit ago. So Woke and Walked is dropping a bunch of phone numbers and contact between DOJ, corrections inside Colorado, and a whole bunch of that stuff. We get the idea. Thank Woke and Walk. There are plenty of people all over on the internet all doing the same thing out there. So left plenty of messages. One Thunder dropped a cookie. What else do we got?
Yeah, thank you, Tony Baloney, with the $5 Rumble Rant. Says, God bless you all. Y'all help.
Being said, Space Yacht always says,
we do appreciate each and every one of you wonderful world patriots out there for tuning in. And until that next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Much love. Be good humans.
Hey, wanted to pop back on here for a second, guys. And I forgot to thank Gary Wall for gifting a subscription over to the channel, and don't ever want to forget that. And then there was a late Rumble Rant came in at the end from Let the Arrests Begin, a $50 Rumble Rant that says, thank you, Mike. So thank you for that. Let the Arrests Begin. I'm going to play 2 videos at the end here, guys. The one video is only going to be seen on YouTube, and then when that one is done, going to go to the end screen. It'll say, thanks for watching, all that crap, and then I'm going to play another one for everybody else that's not YouTube, because everybody else will not give me a copyright strike. So much love out there, guys. Appreciate you guys all for tuning in. Until the next one, thumbs up, like, and subscribe. Peace.
Hello.
special is happening in here. That's right, it's brackets and jackets, bringing it back for brackets and jackets. Special Epstein Island edition. That's right, folks, Epstein, Jeffrey Epstein, the man with the island, which is suspiciously close to Haiti. That's right. You see, this man, Jeffrey Epstein, is funding lots of people. He's funding lots of people on the street to make sure his shit doesn't get out. That's right. They want the record sealed. And they're paying a lot of people. Epstein's paying a lot of people. Oh, boy. For one, he's got a whole Mossad media matrix in America. And I would bet you anything that Alex Jones is one of them. Prove me wrong. That's right, Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the portal. Cappy's in the building with songs about Epstein. It's Breakfast Jackets Epstein edition. Guys, I had some epiphanies today. I had some real big epiphanies about some guys. A big network of guys and spies and lies and liars. All right, think about this for a minute, okay? The guy in Portland, the scientist that just got busted for producing CP, that guy is 1 degree of separation away from Epstein. Epstein, the investor that lives in West Palm Beach, Florida. I know a guy who lives in West Palm Beach, Florida as well. Investor as well. Also involved as well. And all is not well with these guys. The Florida boys, the Glow boys, the Scott Israels of the world. You see, Epstein is Hillary Clinton. And Epstein is Haiti. And Epstein is a big network of media assets. By the way, did you know that Steve Bannon was going to that guy for money? Also, Epstein is Epstein Oprah. Epstein is Chris Tucker. You remember him. Epstein is also Kevin Spacey. Epstein is also Prince Andrew. Epstein is also... Who else is Epstein? Who else is Epstein? Tell me. You guys know? Who else is Epstein? Is Epstein Big Pharma? Is Epstein Bryan Singer? Is Epstein Naomi Campbell? Yep, all of the above. All of the above. Who is Epstein? Epstein is the keystone of a whole motherfucking matrix. And once you pull it out, it all falls down. Dersh was there too. That's right, we're dropping red pills every day. Dropping red pills in the best kind of way. This is brackets and jackets for the denizens of islands.